Okay. Oh wait, I should change the title. Damn. What am I gonna title it? Look. I'm gonna title this. Something. Forum response. Oh, that's right. Initiative. Initiative roles. I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, wait. Oh. Initiative roles. Go for the pun. Booyah. There we go. Refresh that. Nope. Okay. So there's fucking 12 pages of stuff, man. There was something in here that this. Actually, what you're describing is CV does with its musicians, breaks norms, but I actually find it be executed in a minigame format. Ooh, definitely take your time. I don't know if this was a little trolly, like, yeah, take your time, man. We're just gonna dump all over you. But other people were still interested, so yeah, take your time, whatever. I don't know. So a few people expressed interest, I guess. Seconding this motion. Yeah, I'm gonna keep dogpiling because I'm super bored and have all the time in the world. So. But yeah, I think he was asking really the same question. Commodore was asking, where is this? It's almost impossible to position, fully defend. Asymmetrical. Yeah, okay. So this is where we talked about. He had said something about that Wargaming nerfed people grouping for AA, which was a thing that never happened. So. At some point, I guess Wargaming had looked at diminishing returns for overlapping AA, and I guess when they did that, like the system just really didn't work well, so it was just thrown right out. We're not doing this thing. So that unhappened. That's not a thing. But he was saying something about Wargaming broke AA, and what I was saying was in 8.5, patch 8.5. So 8.0 is when it got released. They made various adjustments. 8.5 is where they changed the way that AA was distributed from across all the different planes sprinkled RNG-wise. So like you could absorb 30,000 AA damage without losing a plane. Well, maybe that's a little high, but I don't know, 15, 20 or something, some amount. Because the damage would be sprinkled across all of the planes and wouldn't actually result in a plane kill, which was just dumb. I mean, I'm not trying to be insulting. It's just, it's dumb to have received so much incoming fire for very little, end result in terms of resource loss. Like, you've created a system that's based around resource loss, and yet there's ways to just totally manipulate the system to avoid resource loss. Now, there were situations where resource loss was unavoidable, even in that state. But in order to even approach and get to resource loss, they had to crank up the AA values really high to try to burn through all this damn health that's in the way. And, well, when they changed 8.5, they changed it so all of the damage went, in all of the damage, instead of being sprinkled across all of it, it just got sprinkled into one. So, gone, gone. So, like, if you started attacking a Minotaur, you would very quickly... Like, you just watch this stuff disappear. It was brutal. 8.5 was legit a brutal experience. There was somebody, I think, on the forums, actually, that said, like, I will pay doubloons. I will pay money if somebody can break 250,000 damage. And I did it in a Hikaru. It took me a day and a half. But I did it because there was a match where there were a bunch of battleships that just totally... They were all spread out. We lost. It went all the way to the end, and I just was basically just beating the shit out of battleships that were isolated over and over and over again. So we hit 250 just before I died. So, woo! Yeehaw. Well, anyway, in 8.7, Wargaming altered the priority sector so that it deals the percentage health and then kind of does the thing. But when they did that, they basically ripped AA in half. Because they're just like, the numbers we have were balanced the old way. 8.5 came in. It's different now. We got to do something about this. They changed it to a more manageable number. They cut it in half. And this is to where Some people say, like, even the best AA ships, you can still approach them. What the hell? AA should be amazing. It should kill everything. What the shit? Well, they cut it in half. So if you want to get to that, kind of what it used to be, what that, holy shit, this is really painful. You need 2 Minotaurs on top of each other. You need 2 Des Moines on top of each other because it got halved. So that's that. But there was a little more. As to, in the case of the Holland versus the MVR, the interaction is balanced. The answer is no, not in a traditional sense like chess or checkers where both sides have the same pieces, plays, and rule sets. That being said, the interaction does work, as in between the Holland and the MVR. I've been stomped by Hollands in game, both by the protective team play aspect, they shield their team, so I can't help, and we get dumpstered, or just straight up murdered by them when they get into knife fighting range and kill my hull. Which they can do, as we just went over, because I literally just recorded a video of me killing MVRs in a training battle, because the Holland can kill them. It can. It's always worth remembering that this is a team game, just like in World of Warcraft where you have tank, healer, and DPS. The classes work with each other in terms of range, gun pressure, consumable usage, detection, and more. It's not very fair to just push everything aside and look at a 1v1 scenario, because it's pretty rare that it's just a 1v1 scenario that's happening. Here's a video discussing asymmetrical balance. I linked a YouTube video. So I've now several times read your theory on game balance. In the video with Eraser, when we had a conversation with him. He's seen me talk about it in other places. He still completely disagrees that carriers are good or even okay from a game design perspective. And yes, I did watch the video from Extra Credits on asymmetrical balance. I think you're very much missing something that the Extra Credits voices repeatedly and stated very clearly at 44 seconds in the video. If you want not great big imbalances, but carefully crafted subtle ones. The differences between battleships, DDs, and cruisers, to a finer degree within the classes, those imbalances are the ones he's referring to. Well, he's referring to different games, but I understand what he's trying to say. However, carriers are not carefully crafted and balanced. Carriers are a huge imbalance. Unlike everyone else, they live off a completely different budget. They also ignore and bypass many of the rules other ships live by, such as concealment, island, ship positioning. They fundamentally do not fit in the world. Extra Credit then speaks about League of Legends and how they combine cyclical and perfect imbalance. Yes, League of Legends is a great game. He's played it. We do see cylindrical imbalance in WoWs. However, in League of Legends, you do not have a character that continually gets to damage other players from an unassailable position. Not correct. League of Legends does have characters that can do that. They're poke champions. If you mess up with any character with the longest range ones, you always face the risk of death. Yeah, but there are actually poke champions in League of Legends that can affect you in ways that you can't affect them. In fact, there's actually a character called Karthus, who when he uses his ult, he deals damage to every enemy on the map. Regardless of where they are, regardless of what they're doing, he deals damage to them. Wham! They get hurt. So that's technically incorrect. That is not true. Yes, battleships, cruisers, DDs are asymmetrical part of the game. If you take it too far, you have a boss class. Enter the CV. Pretty much this. I addressed this too. He didn't see it. So these are the 3 people. Well, these are the 2 people that I made the response video to yesterday. Evil Tay and I have talked to a few times. I haven't actually had a chance to talk to him, but I mean, I've seen him in various threads. We've written at each other a few times. It's almost impossible position to fully defend this, so I think you have to give him some credit for trying. There's a little bit of a dogpile going on. A little? I don't know if little is an accurate term here, but, it is what it is. This is something that's, people have been arguing about this for, a year and a half? Hell, probably more. I really haven't entered into this back and forth. Mostly I pop in and give information. But to actually, enter the fray, so to speak, this is new to me. This is not something that I do all the time. But I did think about this as to try to how I could explain it. And I am going to take a bit of time to try to explain... Oh my god. Can I get a hex? Ooh, I can. Can I get a perfect hex? Ooh, I can. Right. Now, oh god, can I get a lot of these? Or do I just have to make them? Need like a hex picture or like a honeycomb picture or something. What about this? Can we just... oh, wait. Getting imaginative here. Copy. Let's see. Copy, paste, rockin'. Select, transparent. Hey. Making it happen. Doing the thing. Alright, well, I'm not going to fill this all out, but I've been trying to think of how would you translate World of Warships into a board game? And I've thought about how you would do it, what the rules are, how would you indicate forward movement, how would you indicate, turns, rudder, gun movement, how would you distribute damage, how would you do this, how would you do that, blah, 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 bunches of shit. Oh my god, this is going to take a little while, but I guess I'm just describing stuff while I'm doing it, right? So in a board game, if you're mimicking World of Warships, well, actually, let me step back just a second. Why a board game? Well, I actually got this idea from a game designer. His name is Jake Solomon, who got the idea actually from Sid Meier, who I don't know if he created Civilization per se, but he's the person that, Sid Meier, Civilization. He's got his name all over it. It's a well-known, well-respected game designer. Yeah, whatever. Oh, hell. What am I doing? Fuck, man. I should just do this. Hey! Da, da, da. Innovation at work, friends. Innovation at work. Cool. Does this even fit? Oh, right. How sexy is that? Bam! Hexboard. Awesome. Let's change the hexboard to black so it looks like more standard. Woo! Sexy. Alright, so... why are we looking at this in a board game format? Have I played Star Wars X-Wing? I played X-Wing back in the day, back in the 90s, yeah. Sorry. I'm not going to be interacting with chat. I'm kind of doing this forum response video. So that's what I'm doing. And plus, technically, I'm getting this idea out there, kind of to keep it in my head as well. So, why the board game? So Jake Solomon loved a game called XCOM, which was back in the 90s. A great fucking game. And actually, XCOM came about because of, in the way that it came about because of Civilization. Microprose had, they got it because it was this little turn-based, you run around, use a gun, shoot an alien, or shoot a thing, rather. They hadn't figured aliens yet. But Civilization had come out, so it had tech trees, and it had world building, and it had all this other stuff. So this little game where you just moved your soldiers around and shot things, Microprose said, you have to make it bigger, you have to do all this other stuff. So, okay. So they figured that out, they wrapped it all together, and holy fuck, it was an amazing game. And it still is an amazing game to this day. It has its flaws, but it's great. Well, Jake Solomon, as a kid, loved that game. He wanted to remake that game. Okay, cool. And they tried to do it, and it just wasn't working. And Sid Meier said, why don't you do this? Why don't you make a board game and figure out kind of what you want to do and just see it. Don't code it. Don't spend hours with programmers. Just sit down and make a board game and see what you can come up with. And that's what they did. They came up with a board game. They figured out how to make XCOM work, and it worked. And then they went about coding it. Now that they had an idea of what worked and was fun and kind of clicked, and they ran with it. So, why do I say all this? So I'm thinking of that map where it's like there's some islands up here and there's a cap, and then there's like the center thing and there's a cap, and then there's islands over on this side and there's a cap. So I'm thinking of that, but let's like zoom in on one of those caps or something. And let's pretend you've got some island tiles here. Here's some island tiles. And we're going to put a ship here. We'll call this the Des Moines. DM. So this is an enemy ship. And you have another ship over here. We're just trying to make this, basic. Whatever. Here's a battleship. We'll call it, let's call it a Repub, maybe? RP. It's black. Awesome. Does it swap back to whatever? It's supposed to be black. There we go, Republic, rockin'. We'll call that the Republic. And in this game, the Des Moines has a feature which is called lob. So you can go, if you can draw a line from, like when you shoot, you draw a line from the center of one hex to the center of the other. That's going to be the line of angle. And lob means, because of the high arcing guns of said ship, it can shoot over one island tile, regardless of how close the proximity it is. So because it has this one island tile, it can shoot regardless. And because of rules and bullshit, this cannot shoot back. So in this situation, you have a Republic over here. Down here, we can say that there's another battleship off in the distance. We'll just pretend that there's a battleship somewhere down here, off in the distance, that has range to be able to deal with the Des Moines or something. And I guess for purposes, whatever, we'll do that. Why am I talking about all this crap when we're talking about initiative? Because when I see a carrier, I don't see a physical asset that's a surface plant. I don't see it as like the carrier is now going to be sneak, pushing up, doing stuff, whatever. The carrier is going to have planes, which are going to move at a fast rate of speed, probably about 8 to 10 hexes per whatever. And when these planes move across their hexes, they get closer, so you see them coming, and then they interact. That triggers an interaction. And on that interaction, you might have a card that you, as the quote-unquote CV player, if this is a multiplayer game, you know, maybe there's a person playing this, maybe there's a person playing the Des Moines, maybe people are playing multiple ships. But for the CV, I said in a previous description, I kind of see the carrier as though it's like instants in Magic the Gathering. You do a thing, bap, there's an effect. So an effect comes into play. It's not just damage. There's an effect or a circumstance or something that happens that is now going to cause a reaction. It's going to cause something to occur. Now this Des Moines has his bow pointed in this direction. You can point the bow at either the edges of the hex or the whatever. So you have 12 points that you can point the bow in. And there's going to be gun angling and all that other crap that they'll have other markers. And I'm sure I can come up with ways to delineate it, make it all feel fine. But this is the direction of the bow for the Des Moines. And so this CV, who has, you know, over off on the side of the table or something, he has 10 rockets, he's got 10 torps, he's got 10 bombs. I'm just using easy numbers. In order for all this stuff, balancing a game takes lots and lots and lots of play and finagling and finessing and testing and all sorts of shit. This is obviously not balance tested. This is just me, you know, with my beginning concept of what a board game version of World of Warships could have. This guy has a trait that allows him to do the thing. I'm sure the Republic will have traits for himself. But anyway, so the CV has decided to commit 9 of his torp planes to this wave of thing. He put the maximum number, he put 9. So they're coming over, they're going to attack the Des Moines. The Des Moines has an anti-air of 2, which means if he is attacked, within like a certain range, he's going to deal 2 damage, which would kill 2 planes, which is kind of analogous to the actual game. But torp, there could be open water and there can be stationary. So we're going to label this stationary. Torpedo strike, whatever. Oh, that's so terrible. Stationary. And what this means is, if the Des Moines doesn't move, you know, if A, he doesn't move, he takes 5 damage. If B, he moves 1 hex, 1 square, since the effect is played until his next turn, he takes 3 damage. And if he moves 2 hexes, he takes 0 damage. Basically, he either takes all the torps, he takes some of the torps, or he takes none of the torps. It's effectively what this is. This effect has now come into play. This is a situation where, in this position, if we can assume for outside factors, whatever, that this Republic feels he cannot, he just can't. He can't move forward, and just take all the punishing fire of a Des Moines to get close enough to be able to shoot this guy in the face. He just can't. He doesn't have the ability to do that. And the guy down here doesn't have the shot to get to the Des Moines. So right now, his bro is in peril. His bro is getting hurt. So the CV has the ability to move around and cast effects to alter, kind of manipulate, try to move the board in such a way that his team, it pulls the pressure off. So he's come over and he's now torped to this position. And the Des Moines, whose bow is pointing this way, can either go forward 1 square, go backward 1 square, in which case he takes 3 damage, or he can go forward 2 squares because Des Moines can rocket off into the future and take 0 damage. Or he can stay stationary and take 5. Depending on this situation, he might get nailed for 5. So he's going to shoot down 2 planes. And because it's analogous to World of Warships or whatever, there's going to be 3 planes left. Maybe there's actually an amount of plane value that's stuck in this, which means there are 4 planes left. They can swing back. Maybe they'll use a heal. I'm just fucking going on this. If we could do this twice. So technically he does it once. There's a call and response. He does it twice. Des Moines can't deal with this. The Des Moines has to make a decision. It puts him into a choice state. Does he choose to stay here? Does he choose to move out there and deal with this? Does he choose to reverse, in which case he no longer has his guns on the Republic? He takes some reduced damage. He can't be shot from down there, but he can't be shot from here. But the Republic can now start to move without the withering fire screwing his advance to then start pinching the Des Moines and push him off into a situation where they can actually get the Des Moines. So the purpose of the CV here is to make an effect happen on the space, causing a choice. From that choice is going to result something. It's either going to result some damage, it's going to result in some movement, it's going to result in a turn, it's going to result in something. So why do I explain all of this? Because if we look back at the post or whatever, the differences to a finer degree, the imbalances, etc. Yourself a boss class, enter the CV. In this case, the Republic can destroy the Des Moines. The Des Moines can slaughter the Republic before he can get to the Des Moines. This is something that, for lack of a better term, defies the static rule set of what's going on in the surface to create a choice situation, to create a peril that the Des Moines now has to make a choice. What do I do to react to this? But in this case, it's only going to be 1 strike or maybe 2 strikes. Maybe he's got a friend somewhere that shoots down some planes, whatever. The purpose of this is to create a choice on the static floor set of the board to make something move or happen or alter the situation in somehow. Theoretically, this team wants to alter this situation to the benefit of their team. So theoretically, the Torps kill the Des Moines or force the Des Moines out so he gets blapped by the Republic. Whatever it is, but this is a situation where, frankly, surface ships don't have a way to scratch this itch, other than going really exceptionally wide to try to get angles on this and slowly push him out and do all the other stuff like that. This is more of a direct effect space. So that's why I call it like you play an instant card in Magic. You are instantly affecting the space. You're affecting the stuff that's on the board. You're affecting the situation. And when I look at CVs, I see the same thing. Only instead of cards and mana, I see resources. And every time you play an effect, you have a resource loss. It might not be a big resource loss. It might only be 2. And if the CV player, again, in this fictional Magic board game or whatever, every round or something, every turn, he gets 1 rocket. And then the next turn he gets 1 torp. And then the next turn he gets 1 bomber. And it's just as the turns play out, it slowly comes back. So in a way, he has a replenishment sense for his resources, but if he's able to put himself in a situation, if he's going to do something, again, he's putting resources at risk. If this was instead 2 Des Moines, if this was something was over here, there's another island maybe that's also blocking other stuff. And there's another ship over here. If there's a ship in the background that, like, it's a Holland basically that he couldn't see, but it's back here, or maybe it's back here and it's able to contribute, fuck up all this stuff. You can put yourself in a situation where the resource cost is unexpectedly high, or frankly, it's just too high to continue being able to use an effect. So you may actually run right out of torps. Bam. You don't have this for X amount of turns. If you get 1 torp every 3 turns, it's going to take you 4 or 5 or however many turns before you can effectively breach AA to get through to do a thing. So the resource concept is how in my head, I see this working. Now, is that to say that World of Warships has the perfect amount, just the chef's kiss amount of resource loss to effect? I think we have to go into a really long, we have to look at this, and we have to examine this situation, we have to go through all the fucking balance implications and all the fucking stuff that goes along with it. That's not something that's going to be answered in 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. That's legit a balanced team sitting down, assessing the situation and going, what is our goal? What are we looking for? And how do we get our numbers in line with this? That's sitting down. That's being a game designer or a balancer and doing the fucking work. And that work is hours and hours of math grinding, spreadsheet, basically shitting out possibility statements and whatever so that you can try to approach the number that it should be, and then you put it in testing and you find that's probably all fucking wrong and that you have to tweak it all over again. There's a lot of work to that. But as it stands now, CVs go around. There are games I win. There are games I lose. I personally feel I win more than I lose because I find points on the map where if I make an effect, my effect is able to be coupled by other people aiding in the result of that effect so that it's not my damage that's like just fucking owning the match. I'm not doing 500,000 damage and just killing everybody. I'm causing something to happen that's allowing my team to capitalize on the causing thing that I'm doing so that we can move forward and win. So, super long explanation-y whatever, but if we come back to this, how do they phrase this? They phrase this something about initiative. Something about like, is it okay that the CV gets to choose to do whatever they want? They get to choose who they're going to jump on. They get to choose when they're going to jump on them. They get to choose this stuff. And I have to respond to that as yes. Well, why is it okay? Let me open like a new one, but like not... Well, fuck it. I'll just save this. Save as board? I can't put an exclamation or a question mark. Why do I say yes? Because in a traditional situation, you might have a healer. The healer's going to do heal stuff. That's what they're going to do. The healer's going to do heal stuff. They're going to help their team survive through healing magic, through whatever. Then you got a tank. The tank has shield. The tank's going to take damage because he can take damage. He can take damage at a sustainable rate that the healer can provide health for. Then you're going to have a DPS that's doing DPS shit. This is a pretty standard combo. But one of the things that used to be very standard in game design were, well, for lack of a better term, red mages. Red mages cause debuffs and curse, and they would stun people. So one of the things that I saw in the forum, whatever, was, okay, so you're a DD, and you're doing a derp. You're going around and up, the CV's on you. Fuck. You're here. You're stuck in a smoke cloud. Great. And then you get bombed and you get hit, and he spins around your smoke cloud, and your smoke cloud goes down, and you die, and it's terrible. What could I have done? This is fucking terrible. Essentially, in other game mechanic terms, putting a fighter here or circling your smoke is effectively a stun. Do you want to be stunned? No. But stuns happen. They are normal. They exist in games. You being stuck in a smoke cloud not doing anything for 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 40 seconds is a stun. That's what it is. Well, I play warships. There's no stuns in warships. Well, that's a stun. That's what it is. You are there. You're not able to do anything. You're in a holding pattern. It's a stun. Well, but he also has damage. He can take me out. He can remove me. Sure. I'm not super familiar with Final Fantasy, the online game or whatever. I don't know what kind of damage red mages do. Having the support style, the stun, followed by actual damage, the CV might not have the damage potential of an actual damage dealer, a DD or a battleship or somebody that's doing extreme amounts of damage, but they have some. And that sum is pretty damn accurate. So instead of a big fucking sword, they've got a pointy sword. It can puncture, it can poke, it can do what it can do. And with a destroyer that has very little health, yeah, it gets nailed. So this sucks. It sucks to be out in the middle of fucking nowhere, get pounced on, and get wrecked. I completely agree. It sucks. So what do? You have teammates. You have other people on the board that give a shit about you and don't want to see you die. So instead of going all the way over here to get trapped in a smoke cloud and murdered, why not just be here where there's some semblance of overlapping AA that either is going to kill the fighter that's hovering your smoke or is going to, if the CV just, well, fuck it, I'm just going to take the damage. Well, they're going to keep shooting. Eventually, the planes are going to die, and then you can get the fuck out of the smoke cloud. They can help break the stun. That's what they're there for. But this concept of that, fuck it, I'm just going to do me. I don't understand it. The other thing, there's a common, again, going with this manipulation strategy. You can manipulate by stun. You can manipulate also by movement, by forcing somebody to go from here to there. Movement. There's literally a game called Into the Breach, which was done by the guys that created FTL. Into the Breach has damage, but it also has several forced movement characteristics. So you'll take a bad guy and you'll launch him somewhere else and he'll be stuck over here now. And sometimes that can result in damage. Sometimes it can result in death. But the concept of the move feature is literally what we just talked about with the island and the Des Moines. The torps were chucked at the Des Moines. He has an option. He can take the damage or he can move. In some cases, you're able to read the Des Moines' movement so well that not only did you get him to move because he doesn't want to take the damage, but you still deal damage anyway because you read his movement correctly. Sure, but if you're coming in with bombs and the island is blocking the shit, you get in, you get clean strikes, maybe the Des Moines needs to move. You start torping his fixed stationary position, maybe the Des Moines needs to move. So part of this red mage manipulation stuff, you can stun, you can cause movement. And obviously, because it's wargaming and because it's ships shooting each other or planes shooting ships or whatever, there's also damage. Which, sure, it's damage. But when you compare what the CV does per strike, it's not the same as what DPS classes can do. Some classes, they have moderated DPS. Like when you look at the Goliath has a slower cooldown. It's got big shells, but it doesn't shoot anywhere near as fast as a Smolensk. It won't kill DDs as quick as a Smolensk, because it's not a fucking Smolensk. It's a different thing. It trades some defense for some armor. That's what it does. It's got additional health built in. Like it really personifies these kind of stuff it doesn't really have the red mage capability, except maybe you could say torps almost, because torps can make people move. That's a little bit of red mage in there. So I don't know. As far as initiative goes, like, should the CV be able to affect anywhere on the map? Yes, because the CV's job is to be a red mage and manipulate the map. It's there to manipulate the people, the players, the enemies on the map, which I think is actually stated somewhere in one of these other posts or whatever, where they're like, yeah, the CV goes around and manipulates people, and it sucks. Who likes being manipulated? You're walking into a game where, you know, you're going to be manipulated by the enemy CV, your friendly CV's manipulating them. Yeah, that's the red mage class. That's the manipulation thing. That's the crowd control person. That's the debuffer. What we don't have is, oh god, that's not the white mage. White mage was healing, right? I think it's blue mage. I don't think we have the blue mage class, which I think is like a buff class. I mean, you might think of it like as a bard almost, but there's not really a class that does buffs, although you could say DDs do, because, I mean, they can set smoke screens, so smoke screen can be a buff. Smoke screens have also this manipulation concept to them. You're manipulating the sight lines on the map. You're manipulating what people can and can't see. So there's some manipulation in the destroyer class, but like there's not something that makes you fire faster, or your shells hit harder, or you fire more accurately. There's not a blue mage class, so to speak, in the Warships game. But yeah, so long story short, do I think that the CV, which I'm saying is like a red mage, should be able to affect oh god, that the CV should be able to zoom over here and fuck with this DD, and then zoom over here and fuck with this DD, and then zoom over here and nail this bunkered up Minotaur or something, or Des Moines, and oh shit, now he's got to move, or now he's got to do something because he's super scared of torps or whatever, or he just eats the damage, you know, whatever, you can do that too. And then comes over here and manipulates this. Do I think that's okay? Yes, because you don't dev strike the Des Moines. You don't dev strike the DD. You don't dev strike this DD. You don't dev strike anything. That part has been removed from what the CV does. You affect with some damage. You inspire movement. In some cases, you stun people. You drag them out of the game and you lock them down for a period of time. And that's what the CV does. And because it's resource-based, because it's really, there we go, ta-da. Because it's resource based, you do have a finite number of options. There is a limit that you can do, and every time you fuck something up, that limit goes lower, and that limit goes lower. If you're an exceptional CV, if you make the best choices, if your team kills things to help you make better choices, if your team handles shit and you don't have to handle it, then you get to save resources and you get to use resources. You get to throw resources around like, fuck man, I got Benjamins, man. I'm fucking rich. I'm going to do this shit because I do what I want. But when your team doesn't step up and you have to start throwing resources at stuff, your resources do get depleted. And yeah, you're going to see some videos on YouTube where the resources, they just go real fucking far. Like, wow, that's obnoxiously fucking far. Which is either A, the sign of a really good CV player, B, the sign of really bad surface ship play, at least in terms of the interaction, or C, most likely a combination of both. So, if the real question in terms of balance, at least for me, is the resource curve, is this resource curve correct? Does the resource curve actually diminish at a reasonable, expectable rate? Does it diminish too quickly? Or does it just not diminish at all? Where is the resource curve? And there was a recent change, like a patch or two ago, where they altered when you attacked something and your planes flew off. They didn't have a reduced damage to AA. And then there's another thing where instead of flying like up to here, they flew all the way up to here, and they're getting shot the whole time. So not only did they not have the damage reduction, they didn't have that, but also they were like in there for 3 times as long, so they just got fucking pwned. So anytime you shot with something, those planes just died. I played it. It was okay. Didn't work really well for the Implacable. Didn't work really well for the Saipan, but I played it. It was okay. They could do that. I think they got a pretty fierce backlash because people were used to, how the game was, and then all of a sudden it's different now. And there was a backlash to it, but still, it was playable. It was okay. If the resource curve is not being diminished at an appreciable correct rate, like if you have to really go in and just take really dumb trades or really fuck something up before you're just sitting in a situation where your resources are obliterated, then that's a problem. Now I can say that in terms of clan battles, there were multiple times where both me and other CVs that I know were out of fucking resources. And it was not the end of the game, but we were out of fucking resources because we had to hit stuff. We had to hit it hard. We had to throw away resources for spotting and for stunning and for moving. We had to use all this stuff. We had to use it so aggressively that we just straight up ran out like 7 to 10 minutes into the match. Because our surface ships needed us to do that. That was our role. That's what we did. So, as far as the game is balanced, I know it's possible to run a CV out of resources. But yeah, when you go into a random game and you have people derping around and they're doing the wrong shit, maybe they're just not calling the CVs to task and bleeding enough resources. Maybe in a random battle environment, then the resources, they could buff up the AA a little in random battles. Or maybe they could make the regen take a little longer in random battles. Or maybe they alter it for clan battles where it's a little different that way. Like, still, the balancing aspect's going to take a long fucking time. Because it's people sitting down crunching numbers and spreadsheets and figuring shit out, and then it's playtesting, and then it's more revisions. But in terms of just a basic concept, maybe the resource curve isn't punishing enough. But even still, when I get into situations where the surface ships aren't doing the gig, and I'm trying to clean up the mess that's out there, it happens where I'm blowing resources and I'm out. It happens on my stream. It happens in front of an audience. Doesn't happen all the time. Probably doesn't even happen most of the time. But it does happen. So the possibility is there. But maybe the possibility of it being there should happen more. But as far as this concept of should I be able to run around and fucking do things and people have to fucking deal with it, that's the class. Nobody wants to be stunned. Nobody wants to be, oh god, what is it called? Shit. Like if you triple Citadel a battleship or you triple Citadel a Moskva, bam, he goes from 60,000 health down to like fucking 40 and he can't really heal it. Son of a bitch. Cripple. Where you make someone less effective. Cripple is effectively what it is. Instead of a chronic stun, you have cripple. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of it, but this quote-unquote red mage class has effectively those quote-unquote spells or effects or instants that they can cast to shape the battlefield and to try to make the battlefield the most capable for their team to be able to deal with. At this point, I think I'm just probably saying the same thing over and over again. It's been about 45 minutes. I think I've answered, at least to my degree, the quote-unquote initiative question, or at least how I see it. And I'm sure there could be more conversation about this. There could be more back and forth and up and down. I'm sure there will be people that say like, Jesus, you are fucking stupid. Why are you smoking so much crack? Not much I can do about that. But there are some folks in the channel that have been hanging out, kind of listening and stuff. So, where the fuck is all this? Okay. Boop. So if somebody, because there's some stuff in here. If somebody wanted to ask a question, that I can take a response to. You know, you're here, you're live, you're listening to it. If y'all have questions or you want to be like, well, did you consider this? Did you consider blah? You know, I'm game for taking some questions. I'm game for kind of talking about some stuff. So I give maybe a minute if anybody wants to kick that in. Let's see. Part of the problem with CVDD interaction is in terms of AA grouping, is that AA grouping is a wholly unenjoyable experience, especially in a DD. It feels like it cannot contribute to the cruiser, assault, cruiser light, battleship, what they could while inside an AA bubble. This is why Holland and previously Daring are so popular. They provide DDs to the player to openly operate and independently in a way that others do not. If I'm going to be stuck in an AA bubble as a DD, I'd rather play a different class. That being said, I haven't read the forum, and I just popped in to stick around, but this is interesting. Overall, you're having a very good take on this, so I just wanted to chime in. So, to respond to that, there are a lot of people that say, so the only answer to dealing with a CV is you just have to clump up. You have to be, you know, we've looked at one ship gets fucked. 2 ships, well, 2 ships they still get hurt. They still get hurt bad. They still get fucked over. 2 ships, not enough. 3 ships, well, 3 ships, those planes, they're still getting through, man. They're still striking. They might only strike once, but those planes, fuck those planes, they're still striking. Okay, 4 ships, 5, and it gets to the point of absurdity. It really does. So what I can tell is 2 ships is enough typically to make a single attack. It's not always the case. It depends on the ships. It depends on what they're doing. It depends on what the CV is committing. It does. But generally, 2 ships is enough to make a single attack or, you know, make a strike into a one-way strike that the additional resources are not really enough to be able to come back and do anything meaningful. So usually there's a strike and then the planes will leave. That's usually what 2 ships does. Now, if the second ship is a destroyer with shit-tastic AA, well, maybe it's not quite as effective. But you've got 2 ships. These guys are traveling in a group. They're cruisers. They're doing whatever they're doing. Here's your DD. It's over here. The AA radius on these guys might be this. But there's a big difference between the DD being here and being here. There's a big difference between the DD being, you know, off behind an island or something trying to take a cap in the center of the map while his support is still back here versus being kind of laid back trying to figure out a way in. What this means is if he's here, he can duck into cover if he needs. If he has smoke, then he has the ability to pop a cooldown if he needs to, and he can hang out with his friends while his safety cooldown is running. If he doesn't have a smoke because he's a Marceau, he's a Kleber, he's a Euro DD or whatever, yeah, they have good AA, but this AA is not meant for independent operation. The Holland is not meant to just fuck off to the ends of the earth because, I'm immune to planes. That's not what the Holland is there for. The Holland is a support DD. The Holland is designed to have extremely fast torps that do very little damage. Why? Because you get floods. You hit people, you scare people, you can line people, you can turn people, you can do things with these to have threat. They're not very damaging, but they're really fast, and because they're fast, it's really likely that you can throw those torps and actually hit something. They're not going to slowly go somewhere just so that people can juke out of the way. So this is consistent floods, consistent pressure. The guns don't do a shitload of damage. They fire really quick, which is pretty cool. Because they fire really quick, they synergize wonderfully with Demolition Expert and fire flags and shit like that. So because you're spamming all this crap out, you have fire pressure. What does fires do? Well, it does damage, but it also burns damage cons, which assists your team. So if you notice the theme, really likely to cause floods, really likely to cause fires. Both of these burn damage cons. And then if you look at AA defense, it has excellent AA. Awesome, but we already know no single ship is plane immune. So the single ship is not supposed to be off in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere doing whatever the fuck it wants. It's supposed to be dealing with a unit that's operating on a flank. These guys are supposed to be working together to maybe take A cap, or, well, probably not the B cap because you're walking into a crossfire, but you can move over and you can take care of this. Come down here, you can take care of Charlie cap. These guys are a unit. They're supposed to matter. You don't have to stick under their skirt. You don't have to hide and torp only from this bow-in angle. You can move. You have like a 6-kilometer range around them that they're able to give you assistance, and all you have to do is just kind of retreat back to give them get a little snuggled in until those planes fuck off and find somebody else. It's not about this like being 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers or just like stuck out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Use your team. They exist to help. Now, in lower tiers, in tier 5 and tier 6 and stuff, your AA is going to suck. Like, the DD's A is going to suck. The surface ship's A is going to suck. It's considered a training tier for carriers. So, unfortunately, yeah, even if you're on the edge of this long-range AA, or hell, if you even come close enough for the medium-range AA, the enemy CV is still going to be able to knife in and probably strike you once, potentially even twice, depending on how shit the AA is at the tier. But tier 6 ships... The tier 6 CVs are supposed to have kind of a moderated amount of damage, so they'll hit you, they'll chisel you. But if you're playing properly, if you're trying to angle, if you're trying to be sneaky, you should, for the most part, be able to weather a fair amount of it. But again, you have to weather it with your team. It's not about you being the star of your own show and just kind of going around and fucking clocking everybody and staking all the caps and broadsiding and dev striking everybody. Life is not a highlight reel. Especially not a team game. Team games are team games. At least that's my response to that. Hopefully the gentleman that said that is still here. ZK2? I don't know. Is he still here? Yeah, ZK2 is still here. So, cool. Maybe I addressed it. Maybe I didn't. I hope I didn't come off as like condescending and grr, but... It's just the tone of voice I have when I'm explaining something, going through stuff. And also, there is a little bit of underlying frustration because I hear a lot of people saying the same stuff. And I don't know if it's just because, well, so they heard it, and it makes sense to me. Or, like, sometimes I don't know how to... I worry that, like, I don't know how I can express this or break through this because it's such a common belief or common thought. And I don't know. So, forgive me if I sound rawr. I mean, shit, it's midnight and I'm doing a video because there's 12 pages of people that fucking hate me in a forum. So, you know, it is what it is. Maybe it's because a lot of people actually disagree with you. Yeah, sure. Probably. Obviously, I don't agree with me. Only 12 pages? Oh, it's just starting, Wombat. Nothing is a hard counter, and that's okay, is it? What do you mean by that, nothing is a hard counter? Nothing is a hard counter to the CV? Let me see if there's anything else here while I wait for him to respond. Okay, yeah. Right, how do you pronounce your name? How do I pronounce my name? Askance. At least that's how I pronounce it. Askance. Argue the resource vision is so much more worth in high-level play that it's hard to grasp for a regular player who only cares about their battleship eating stuff. Yeah, well, vision, again, it's a support thing. So in that case, you're maybe not trading resources, you're trading time, but if they had changed the aerial detection to where you could turn off your AA and go dark if you're not shooting, then you would be in a situation where you'd be trading resources for vision because you'd have to be close enough to something that they could turn on their AA to fuck you off. So that would cause more of the resource bleed. So I really am sad that they didn't do the detection changes that they had said, where they changed, they would have kicked all the aerial detection down by half. I think that would have fit more into the concept of, the game ships being able to take early positions and try to retreat. I could go with that. So you're saying that a ship that's supposedly designed to counter your ship should not be able to do so. As in, nothing can really take out a CV quickly unless the CV is negligent. By quickly, I mean as quickly as other classes. In terms of planes, you mean? Okay. So, let's see. I don't know. I'm just going to clean slate it. When it comes to shells, if you angle toward the shells ricochet. Ping. Let's go gray for the shells. The shells will ricochet. So you can take a position that's hardened against shell fire. In which case, when you do that, you start having HE shells come, because HE shells will hit regardless. They hit. That's what they're designed for. So there's a little bit of play of that. There's AP, there's HE, there's whatever. You pick the appropriate shell for the job. If somebody is broadside, then you pick the AP shells, because that's the win condition. If they're nose in, you pick HE. Stuff like that. So what does this mean? It means that for shells, there is a mitigating factor and like a danger factor. So you can mitigate, you have danger. Mitigate, danger. You have a situation. But one thing that you don't have, there's no way for you to just bam, block the shells. There's no way for this to just go away. Up. You can't shoot me now. All your shells don't matter. There's no how do I put this? There's nothing that can ping, shoot a shell out of the air. There's nothing that can stop a shell that's fired at you. If it's fired, it's going to go on its trajectory. It's going to do its thing. And if it hits you, it hits you. If it doesn't hit you, it doesn't. If it hits you, damage is calculated, armor vectors, effective armor, all that shit. Which technically, and I think this is a little funny, people talk about, AA is an automated whatever. Well, what do you think armor bounce calculations and effective armor is? It's AA, or it's AI burning through calculations. All this continuous damage is math. It's just math is dealt to the planes. So that's what it is. Well, armor is dealt to the shells. Shells are a munition. Armor is what they encounter, and they either they fail to pen, they ricochet, they do whatever the hell they do, but they have that back and forth. Then you start looking at torps. Well, what stops torps? You can angle to torps, but if the torp hits you, it hurts. Bam! You take a lot of damage. If you're broadside to torps, and the torp hits you, bam! You take a lot of damage. Technically, if you take it on the nose, the damage might be limited. And also, if you're bow in, there's likelihood that the other torps will miss you, which is nice. It's good not to take all those, whereas this is going to really fucking suck. But again, there's nothing that you can't shoot the torps out of the water. You can't just stop this. There's no consumable that stops this. There's no consumable that gets in the way. There's no situation where it's not just, there's not just, well, I'm here and I've got two other people here and I've got whatever. So I'm really grouped. So these torps, they just up and then they run away. Nope, not doing it. There's nothing that causes the munition to stop on its travel pattern to go in to do whatever it does. Now with planes, you have a defense mechanic, and the planes are a munition. The planes are a shell. The planes are a torp. And I realize it's really easy because mentally you can identify, well, planes, they've got a pilot, they've got a little dude in here, and they're flying around and they're doing stuff and they got a bomb and like they're controlled and they're guided and they whatever. Effectively, if it makes it an easier way to think about it, pretend it's a drone. Pretend it's like you've got a little kid and the little kid has a drone. And the little kid is flying the drone around, and then he gets to a point and he pushes a button and the bombs drop. But all the drone is a delivery method. It's a shell. The shell is the delivery method for the bomb inside the shell. If it's an armor-piercing thing, it pierces some armor and it explodes up. If it's not, it just blows up on whatever it hits. But it's just a delivery method for damage. And planes are a delivery method for damage for CVs. There's a difference, though, in that planes are guided. You can make them go wherever the fuck they're going to go. You can make them turn, you can make them go up, you can do other things, and they spot, which is a latent bonus that they have. So they're guided, and they spot. These are things that shells and torps do not do. Although technically, if you see shells hit something, it's like, oh, there's a damage there. You know where he is in smoke. So technically, it can spot derp. But no. Eventually, subs will come out, and they'll have guided torps. So, ugh. Come on, go away. Why do I say all this shit about planes? Because if you have a single ship, you're going to come in with planes, and then you're going to swing around and you're going to come back in with planes. You're going to strike twice. If there's two ships, you're going to come in, you're going to strike once, and you're going to go, oh, fuck this, and you're going to bail. If there's three ships, depending on what these ships are, they might have defensive fire. It could just be flak. Flak is a minigame. You can dodge flak. But there are some cases where you lose. You don't get to go in. It's done. There's no delivery of anything. And there's a fundamental difference, like wargaming. If there's a manipulation class, I don't know, a mesmer or whatever, I don't know, whatever. There's a manipulation class if having three enemies means that the three enemies, by their forces combined, mean that you don't get to do anything. Oh, there's three people here. You can't stun them. You can't move them. You can't affect them. Then this class just gets to sit out. So this class is stunned because it cannot affect the enemy, which maybe that's okay. But from a player feedback perspective, you have a player that's showing up in a mesmer, expecting to do mesmer things. And you could say, well, I have a player in a destroyer expecting to do destroyer things. Sure, but you can do destroyer things with other teammates. And it doesn't mean you have to be right next to the other teammates. You can be out in front. You just have to be kind of like a little kid at a park, you know? It's not that you have to be with mom the whole fucking time. It's that mom is sitting on a bench over there, and you can see her. And if you need mom, you can go over and you can say hello to mom. But in the meantime, you're over here on the swing set. You're doing swing set stuff. Like, I know that's a silly example, but the reason why this is important is because I can give you an example. I was in a game where there were two CVs on both sides. And one of our DDs went and he made the hero play and he killed the enemy CVs. And it got down to like 6 ships versus 6 ships. And our team was just like, yeah, we've got 2 CVs. We're going to fucking win. This is amazing. 3 battleships sailed in formation. We did get through. We did 4,000 damage to a battleship that has like an effective health of 120, and all of those planes died. And we went in and we did it again, did another 4K, and all of those planes died. And one more time, and there were no more planes. You got nothing. So this whole like, oh, 2 CVs, oh, they pick their whatever, they do whatever. The only thing that affects this is torps and shells, not planes. There's pluses and minuses to the different munition types. The torps and shells can breach. There's nothing to stop it. There's angling. Angling can help you dodge torps. Angling can help you ricochet shells. But there's nothing that just makes the shells go away. Or there's like 3 ships grouped together, so the shells just magnetically get repelled or something. Like, that doesn't happen. There is a fundamental difference. And further, for all the things that these get, that they're guided, that they spot, that they do whatever, there's a resource limit. And once you hit the bottom of that resource limit, ping, you have nothing else in your clip. And you got a whole bunch of angry people looking to kill you. So, fuck. Alrighty. Sorry. So I went on my little tangent for a while there. Let me check back in with chat. And yeah, this is not to say anybody here, this is not to say anybody has, hates this or hates that or whatever. This is literally like, there's this big giant, forum thing, because I reacted to a Flamu video. I didn't actually really react to Flamu. I just kind of reacted to the CV that was on the enemy team, that he was like, what the fuck? Is this for real? So we just kind of examined some of what the enemy CV did and just kind of put it in perspective, is all I really did. And it spawned, a lot of whatever. So, okay, people want responses, but like, if I'm going to dash off, a 2-sentence response, and then I'm going to have 7 people rip into my 2 sentences and try to be like, oh, well, you didn't use this word correctly, or, oh, you forgot to have that thing. Like, it's just, I don't have the writing skills. Pullycat has the writing skills to do this shit. Evil Tane, to an extent, I think, has the writing skills to do this. Me, nah, I don't. So that's why I'm doing basically a video response, so that I can post the video response. Yes, it's what, fucking an hour now? The first 45 minutes was the response. The rest has just kind of been back and forth with chat, so it's like a bonus round. Okay, so let me go back up. So Dazoid was talking about, is it okay if there's a hard counter? Fuck, where was this? As in, there's nothing that can take out a CV quickly unless the CV is negligent. I'm assuming you mean by planes. Maybe you meant by hull? And by quickly, I mean as quickly as other classes. No, the ship itself. Oh, the hull. Oh, well, my friend. Okay, so I just want to let you know, there's something called 988. 988. What is... Or sorry, 998. Hopefully that's not like the weird Nazi weird thing or whatever, because there's some, I don't know, there's something with numbers. Anyway, what is the 998? The 9 is a Musashi, and a CV. So at tier 8, the only hulls, the only CV hulls that have armor are the British ones, which a lot of people don't play because the British hulls, people are scared of the British. They're like, what the fuck? These are terrible. They don't do damage. So you got your CV, you spawn in, you got a CV over here, and you've got Musashi, and the CV flies over here, and he just spots the CV. Blam. Blam. Oh fuck, there's half my health. Fuck, what do I do? Blam. Blam. The CV is dead. Well, I know it was a meme for a bit, but it's still a viable strategy. It's even viable in clan battles. Like, I had a discussion with the strategist for our clan battle team. Like, so if you have a Thunderer, the Thunderer has enough HE pen to rip through a Midway deck or a Hikaru deck. Or, well, probably not all of the Audacious, but most of the Audacious deck. So, like, do you want to just have a Thunderer that's going to beat the fuck out of the enemy CV, and we just go over there and fly around and piss it off? Because the CV can chase me and drop a fighter, and I'll just go over here. And then he'll drop a fighter, and I'll just go over here. So then at that point, the CV has to pull planes back, or ships back, to try to cover his AA or whatever, so that I can't just linger and keep him spotted. Because the Thunder, bam, he gets nailed for 9k. Bam, he gets nailed for 9k. Bam, he gets nailed for 15. Like, real quick, it gets into a situation where he's just fucking dead. So, yes, you're correct. Tier 10 CV decks are ridiculous. If we look, the Midway's deck is 80-something, right? Richthofen is actually its own thing. So we can look at, I don't have the Hikari right now because I'm still regrinding the line. I'm kind of making that like an online event thing. But if we look at the Hikaru, the deck is 95 millimeters. Okay, fuck, that's a lot. If we look at the midway, the deck is, I think it's 86, right? 86? 87. Oh, I always get that off by like 1. Sometimes up, sometimes down. The Audacious is a weirder deck because it's got like this armored stripe, this heavily armored stripe here, 102. Then it's got enough armor that it's going to bounce stuff at 38, and then it's got 25. So this is more likely to actually take shots or whatever. You'll still ricochet AP here, but you won't here. But HE can actually pen this as long as it's strong, although not here. And I mean, if you're going in through the front, you're probably not going to get to the Citadel because it's going to bounce whatever, but you can still get some pretty nasty pens with battleships into an Audacious. But you don't often see Audacious because of penetration issues. Then we've got the FDR, which is just the midway, so there's nothing different there. And then the Richthofen is actually weird. The Richthofen has a much different armor scheme than the others. It has 50 mil, which is enough to bounce. But there are a lot of people that go into clan battles with 50 mil. They come in with Hindenburgs, or they come in with Goliaths, or they come in with something that has HE that can pen this. Because this is what's common on Russian ships. So, at that point, if you've got shit that can pen 50 mil, you can fly your little derpy ass around, and guess what? Some of the worst fucking concealment, 12.8 detection by air. It sucks. Like, What is the midways? I don't think it's as bad. Midway, come on, where are you, buddy? Where are you, buddy? I know you're hiding. I'm just not seeing you. 11.2. Hikaru is not nearly as bad. The fucking Audacious is super sneaky. So like, this Richthofen thing, like, are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, you can shell the bitch from long range. You just need a team to do it. Anyway, okay. And also, speaking of this, at tier 6, there was, oh god, who was it? Not Potato Quality, it was somebody else. General Dort. I was in a random match. General Dort was on the other team. He's a battleship guy. And he was in, I think, it was a Fuso. That's what it was. Fuso with 17 click range. Actually, I think it has more than that, because you can upgrade it, right? Yeah, so it goes out to 21. 21.8 clicks at tier 6. You know, every time my hull was spotted, there went a giant-ass chunk of it. He was on point. He's like, fuck no, I'm shooting that bitch. And plus, I mean, the 07 collects pelts or whatever, so all the more he wanted to kill me. Fun auto, the autopilot mechanic got me killed. But anyway. So yeah, hull, sorry. Look, I appreciate your approach in trying to discuss this. I don't want to sit and chat and snipe. No, it's okay. It's not about sniping and bitching and whatever. It's it's less about the ordnance and more than if you happen to manage to kill the ordnance delivery, you still have a hull that's running away at the end of the game you're trying to kill. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, well, to me, this is still something that the ordnance thing is something I personally wanted to address. Flak is only effective for beginners? That's not actually correct. Even some of the best CVs in the world take flak damage. Flak is only effective against beginners is when you're against ships that are solo. So if we look at a Des Moines, priority sector reinforcement. Sorry, damage by shell. It chucks 5 shell explosions. It chucks 5 pieces of flak. 5 is pretty dodgeable, just in general. 5 is pretty approachable. You can get through it. Who cares? When you have 2 Des Moines and this turns into 10, it is different. When you have 3 Des Moines and this turns into 15, it's different. So, not only does the AA umbrella with the continuous damage overlap matter, but this actually is extremely important and can really, really affect different CVs in different ways. Some of them they can go really quickly. They fuck with, like, they almost ignore flak because the flak gunners can't track them. But trying to play like the midway, for instance, I tried playing this in clan battles a few times, and God, what is the Goliath flak? Because Goliath flak is fucking terrifying. Something about the Goliath is just balls deep nuts. It's It's 6. I mean, it shouldn't be crazy, but it's just like, God, it's brutal. Anyway, You'd sacrifice a leg to bring back RTS CVs? Man, RTS CVs are scary as fuck, man. It's a good point, the great IA. I hope he doesn't target me. That is my counterplay. Okay, sorry. So, I have talked a lot, because I talk a lot. Good CVs, players predict and dodge flak. No, I get it. But the predict and dodge flak, the issue that comes in with there is if you've got two ships on top of each other, ugh, then when you get into 3.5, I know that's terrible. When you get into the 3.5, there's no flak. However, when you space those ships out, oh, come on. Whatever. When you space those ships out by a little, then this 3.5 and this 3.5 are different. So when your planes get through here, you juke, you jive, you dodge, okay, you commit to the strike. Now you've committed to the strike. By committing to the strike, you need to hold this line for accuracy. This guy's flak doesn't give a fuck about your strike. He's going to put flak directly dead ahead in front of you over and over and over again, and you don't have the ability to juke and jive and all that shit to make a good strike. So this, technically, that's the way to deal with this. It's by having flak come in. Now, one of the things that's important, again, is if this thing has 5 flak puffs and this thing has 5 flak puffs, well, sure, out here it's 10, but once you're within here, it's only 5. And 5 in general is pretty sparse. So it actually depends on having another ship that has a reasonable amount of flak or has the slot 6 AA mod that gives you +2 flak puffs during defensive fire. So maybe like a Petro has 6, but this buffs it up to 8 with the little thing. So then you've got 8, which is enough that you start getting saturation values, and it's actually hard to juke around them. So this is more of a placement thing, so that you can have mutually assistive flak on attack runs. Your planes don't give a fuck about flak. Until AA drops because of stacking penalties, there are no stacking penalties. Stacking penalties doesn't exist. It was something that evidently was tried back in March of 2019, and it didn't happen. Sure, Cougs. Yeah, if I understand correctly, because somewhere in this, I think it was, what's his name? He's somewhere in here. Evil Tane. Yeah, Evil Tane talked about, I think actually it was this, right? He had said something about that there was Wargaming nerfed grouped up flak, or grouped up AA, and I corrected him to say that they actually have not done that. It was, I guess, put as like a super test thing, and they tried it, and the code that they implemented did not work. So they just fucking chucked it. And 8.5 was when they really changed the game, because they put it into a situation where all the damage was put into a single plane at a time, which forced resource loss, which had not really been forced until then. Which is why, like, people can say, it's still terrible, AA does nothing, whatever. At 8.0, I think Gaishu or something hit like 550,000 damage in a Hakuryu. I mean, it was dumb. There was something really fucking stupid about that. So at 8.7, because 8.5, they still had the old AA values from when it was supposed to sprinkle across all of the planes in your squadron. Well, those AA values they were nasty. You'd watch the little firecrackers pop down the line until you had fuck all nothing. Like, if you were going to strike a cruiser, you had to bring 9 planes so you could sacrifice 6 to the cruiser god so that you could shoot with 3. which, I mean, sure, sounds pretty cool. Maybe that's the ideal balancing point. 8.5 was workable, but it was brutal, especially for the average player base. It was really brutal for the average player base. So 8.7 is where they introduced the priority sector rework, which is where they halved all the AA. Basically about halved in general, which I think I wrote this, which is where this concept of like solo ships no longer technically are super crazy fucking solo ships, and you really need to start looking into an AA buddy. Why? Because it was about halved. So when you get an AA buddy, you double it, which puts it at about where it was at the 8.5, at least for a solo ship. Do you believe CVs are balanced now? Yeah, I think they fit. They perform their role. They do their thing. In a CV, I'm not in a situation where just because I show up, we win. In a CV, and there's different ways to play CVs. There's strike CV, like there's strikers. They just run around and they kill stuff. They shoot stuff. That's what they do. They specialize in dealing damage to things. I'm more of a support style CV. So what I tend to do is I look at the map and I try to find like, what's the most on fire? And I try to go over and try to put out the fire if I can. Balanced isn't equal to other surface ships. I feel that my CV is inferior in comparison to what a surface ship can do in his area of operation. So, to put that a different way, if my CV is here, and let's see, caps or whatever, right? There's a cap here, there's a cap here, there's a cap here. I think I'll move the hull over. I'll move it here, sure. And we'll pretend this is a clan battle situation. So there's a safe cap and a safe cap. For the fuck of it, we'll add some islands or something. Right, can I do this? So there's like islands and stuff here, because this is one of the maps or something. There's a little shit over there, and then there's this thing. Sure, there's crap there, whatever. The two surface ships that are over on this side, because typically there's two people committed to a safe cap. They're either gonna push or they're gonna stay stagnant and then slowly bleed space if the other team is pushing. So ultimately, they're gonna figure out what they're gonna do. What I can do is to come over and deal some damage to this. I don't annihilate this flank, I don't dumpster the flank, I don't kill the flank, I don't win the flank. All I do is affect the flank so that this team or this side has more of an advantage to be able to push and win. But these are the people that push and win, not me. These are the people that can cap, not me. These are the people that stop these guys from turning around because they might get broadside shot, not me. All I do is have a small effect that these guys can try to steamroll off of or snowball off of. You know, I come in, I hit for 10k or 15k or whatever. That might be enough that unless the enemy CV comes over or unless they land a really fucking cool shot, that now it's unbalanced and my team is able to start taking that unbalance and take the initiative. But these guys are incredibly important. Without these guys, what am I like? I'll sail my CV into two people and try to go through here and single-handedly win the flank? Fuck no. Fuck no. These people have to stay alive. They have to be able to take map position because I can't. All I can do is make a temporary threat, which can allow them to benefit off of it by causing some kind of movement or some kind of health imbalance or some kind of, you know, maybe if there's a DD over here that's spotting for them because they're behind an island, if I come over, light him briefly, he pops smoke. Well, I've effectively stunned him, so now these people can't farm my guys the same way. But when this shit dies, we die. This is what holds the map, wins the game, wins the flank, does all the shit over here. Not me. I just shoot some stuff occasionally or come over and spot some stuff. It's an incredible difference in influence. I can prevent caps, though, and remain unspotted while doing that. I can deny map position. So, I think you missed... You might be kind of like... You might have just popped in not too long ago. I had like a 45-minute, basically, video thing that I did as a response to all of this, because people were talking about initiative. And what I was trying to explain and all that, and frankly, once I post this, you can just watch it. Oh, you did, so you were here for that. Well, you can prevent caps through and remain unspotted. The hull remaining unspotted, to me, when I think of the CV hull, this is... Oh, goodness. There we go. Go away. I think of the CV hull as basically a magician. You know, this is not blatantly correct, but this is the magician. What is the magician or the red mage going to do? The red mage is going to cause manipulation. If my guys have been pushed back, these guys are pushing in, they're threatening a cap, I can come over, I can spot for them, I can get resets, I can do things. Sure, I can manipulate the map while while the body is there. Do I care that the body is hiding over here and unable to be shot or whatever because it's not lit? Personally, no. If you want to remove the magician, then you need to figure strategies and how do you remove the magician. They exist. You can do it. You have, theoretically, you might be in a situation where you have a CV as well. If you don't, then what you just do is you have all the fucking surface ship pressure be able to push in a way that the magician cannot affect. Because if you group sufficiently, you effectively cannot crowd control, cannot deal with these things. It turns it into, 7v6 or an 8v7 or whatever. The fact that the hull isn't necessarily getting affected, all the hull does is mean when this gets taken out, there's no more manipulation, which is cool. All right, neat. Do you. But do I think the hull needs to be at risk to be able to affect the map? No. For all intents and purposes, you could actually remove the hull from the map. And you could just have this person being somebody that on a timer uses a cooldown and Droop does a thing. And then on a timer does a cooldown and Droop does a thing. And is technically unaffectable. The game still plays like the game. It doesn't change the game. But having the actual physical asset on the board means at least you have a condition where you can remove it. I don't see that as problematic. I don't see it as an issue. What do I think about having damage con and the control air patrol fighter manual instead of automatic? I mean, you'd be able to make choices that you wanted to make as opposed to seeing the AI making them for you. Sure, whatever. I don't think I would give a shit. I'll be honest. The amount of times that I would have to care about this, okay, I'll have to care about it. Then I'll learn to do it, and then I'll do it. And then it'll be done. So I would choose when I want the control air thing. I guess I could pop it when I see what planes are coming so that I'm technically using the planes against the thing I want to use the planes against, as opposed to, fuck, the hull is spotted. Droop, there's a plane going up. So, I mean, that would be nice, I guess. But if this happened in a patch, would it change anything for me? Nah, I'd still be doing me. I'd just have, to hit a button if I was on fire or something. Hey, Lewis. I feel like there's a different game that has an aspect like that. PlanetSide 2 maybe, trying to recall, in terms of outside the player map having influence. So there's actually a game, which is probably a really easy reference. Can I look this up? That's not a thing. Google. Natural Selection 2. This game, Natural Selection 2. What is this? If you see some of the pictures, you see humans, you see aliens. What the hell? So in this game, it's a mod for Half-Life, and then it became like a fully fledged game. So you got your map, because there's always a map. And you might have like the office, then there's a little room or something that goes to the engines, and there's some rooms over here, and this goes to reactor, and it goes to blah, blah, blah. The aliens, we'll say they're green or something. The aliens start over here, they have a hive. They go out, they try to get stuff, they go out, they build another hive, and they work together and they do stuff. Well, the humans over here, they build machines. So they start out, and there's a little office chair, like a little thing. And one of those humans goes in the office chair, and he is, for all intents and purposes, no longer on the board. The aliens all have this hive mentality where they can see through walls, so they can see where the other aliens are, and they can see buildings and structures through walls. So they can see what everybody else is doing, and they all share resources. The humans, however, have a commander. The commander has all the resources. Everyone else, all the other little people on the ground, they're just running around doing marine stuff. They run around, they shoot stuff. If they die, there's a little respawn pod. They respawn, they come back out, whatever. And the commander places buildings that the people have to build. You can place a building over here. They have to go over to build it. All of that shit. This guy has a top-down map, and he places things on the map. He clicks over here. You, go here. You, go there. You, defend this area. You, build this thing. So he's effectively removed himself from the map. He does physically have a location. And it's not necessarily a win condition, I think, for like the aliens to kill the commander chair. Maybe it is. It might be a win condition for them to kill the commander chair, because without a commander, you can't do all this other shit. But it's literally like, that's almost what the CV is. He is looking down and he's going, affect this, do this. And it's just, he doesn't have the power to actually make the fucking thing. Just like I don't have the power to take the cap. I don't have the power to sit in an island threatening a crossfire position that blocks any forward movement at all. But I can try to torp across it and slow the advance or try to help him get there. Like, I can do those things. So, yeah, Natural Selection, by the way, great game. Really fucking cool. Sadly, I think Natural Selection 2, nobody plays it anymore. So you think it's okay for one ship in the game to use its ammo to attack another ship with zero consequences of being spotted? Sure. You already have ships like that. You have ships that fire over islands. Like, the Smolensk. The Smolensk, like, here's the thing. You got some islands, right? And you got some caps. There's some islands, whatever. There's islands, woo. Islands and stuff, cool. And you got some caps and stuff. There's a cap here, there's a cap here, there's a cap here. The Smolensk just goes over, and then, oh, there's a smoke cloud. Or hell, maybe there's even an island. And he's just like, fuck it. There's an island here, and he's just going to farm over it. He's not spotted. But a DD could come over here and spot him. Well, then he smokes. He's still not spotted. And he goes and he just fucking farms your battleships for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15, all 20 minutes at a time. Or even better, by the power of teamwork, he smokes himself and then somebody else gives him a smoke. And then he re-smokes himself and that somebody comes back and gives him a smoke. Like, it's a team game. So, can you smoke fire? Yeah, you can smoke fire. But I mean, if your CV just comes over and lights the other CV, you could shoot the CV. Like, it's not like he's invisible. Like, it's not like he's off in the nether realm. If you have battleships, like, as I explained to somebody else, there's the 998, which was 2 big long-range battleships and a CV. And at the beginning of this game, the CV just went over, it's there, and then the battleships killed it. Like, boom, dead. His planes won't be shot down before he gets drops on then. What? CV cannot be spotted by using its guns at 20 kilometer. Planes are exactly like guns. Smoke can be countered by radar. Yeah, sure, but there's no 19 kilometer radar and there's 19 kilometer Smolensks. So there's that. There's ships in the game that have like up to 26 kilometers and they have a smoke firing detection of like 12 or 14. So if you put them in a smoke cloud, they can fire all they want for as long as they're in smoke, not being seen. I mean, yeah, there's possibilities, sure, but like, how dare this thing affect me and I can't see it? What do you mean, like the destroyer that sent torps and then killed you without spotting himself because he sent torps? How dare this thing affect me and I can't see it? Like the guy who's farming you from behind an island and you can't see him to shoot him? How dare this person affect me and I can't see him? Like the person that's in a smoke cloud that's farming you just the same fucking way. Like, the game is not endemically fair. It's not Tekken, you know? You don't see your opponent right in front of you so you can punch him in the face and he can punch you in the face. It's not that. There's all kinds of different facets to how this ship works or that ship works and these positions work. And they're all kind of team play compositions where you can tag team using smoke, you can tag team using radars and all this other shit. At a rate of 1 plane per 1.5 minutes. There's some that regen 45 seconds per plane. There's some that regenerate at 2.5 minutes per plane. Often the way that the regen structure is usually will depend on how many planes it is in an attacking strike, and also you have to factor in how many planes get lost just to get the attacking strike to the target. You're saying CVs aren't balanced because its ability to dot and stealth attack. Again, stealth attack, DD's stealth attack. But there's radar, unless you don't have radar, and it's out of your hands because it's random and you don't get to choose that shit. So if you don't have radar, the DDs get to stealth attack. Get fucked. DDs can set floods just the same as anyone else, or people firing at you from over an island, people firing at you from smoke. As long as you're spotted, they can stealth attack. And they can set fires, they can set floods. The CVs aren't balanced because they can do damage. There was a conversation I had, I think, in yesterday's forum responsey thing, which, oh Jesus, was... Whoa. What is it? Not this one. Forum response, is the MVR unkillable? This forum response video thing. In this, I think I talked about how a Smolensk, this surface ship, the only limiting factor on a Smolensk is 1, his physical position because he has range, and 2, his health. But as long as this guy has health, and technically his guns aren't broken, he has, I'm not going to say infinite damage because there's a time limit on the game, but he can put out endless damage. He's not resource limited. The only resources he's limited by are range and health. Whereas with a CV, there's a little pokey thing. Hey, it's a CV. Kind of looks like a penis. Anyway, where the CV has a resource limit. So when you walk into a game, the only thing that limits a Smolensk is what he can see and how long he's alive. When you walk into a game as a CV, you have a hard limit. You may not reach the hard limit. You may not be in a situation where the limit really matters to you, but you might be in a situation where the limit absolutely matters to you. But regardless, you have a limit. This is most noticeable, especially in terms of AA and balance, when again, Gaishu back in like 8.5 or something held the world record, I think, for doing like 550,000 damage in a Hakuryu. Whereas now, you usually run out of Hakuryu planes around 150,000 damage. Sometimes you get to 200, 220. Usually you run out of planes around 150,000 damage. That's what you bring. That's what you have to offer is 150. Unless the enemy is just really generous. They kind of let you shoot them and shit. But in this example, because of this resource limit, you're bringing a set amount of shit to the party. You're bringing a bag of chips. And when that bag of chips is eaten, the bag of chips is gone. Whereas in this case, this dude's a bartender. He's fucking just throwing drinks. And the only thing that's going to stop him is when he walks out and leaves. Or somebody decks him in the face and he just fucking conks out and he falls asleep on the floor or something. Okay. He's limited the amount of drinks he throws by time of reload. Yes. The bartender is limited by the amount of beers he can physically push into the hands of other people. By the way, do you know where Kek comes from? Just a fun question. Does anybody know where Kek comes from? Also, his shells flying over DDs don't spot. That's correct. 92% win rate CV. Can we look you up on the little thingy? The PR site or whatever? In other words, he's in complete control and no other class. Kaga and Hosho, bitch. Beaver Scout. Now I'm just curious. Are you on NA? Yep. Well, maybe that's you. I don't know. 58. Yeehaw. 92%. Fuck yeah, bro. That's pretty nasty. Oh, okay. 8 battles, 11 battles, 2 battles. Oh, come on, bro. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. that is an elaborate troll. Congratulations, sir. You got me on that one. That is good. That is good, sir. But I don't know. Did anybody answer my question? Where does Keck from? Where does anybody know where Keck comes from? I don't think anybody does, or at least nobody has said yes so far, or maybe yes, but they didn't answer it. Oh, Zornbringers. Yes. Wow. World of Warcraft. Yeah. So when the Horde typed LOL, the thing converted it into Keck. So during PvP situations, when the Horde was laughing, or whatever, it came out as Keck. So that's where the Kekistani comes from. Care to show your surface ship stats? Sure, we can look at that. I mean, ultimately, stats are whatever, but like, when you're saying 90% win rate, I'm like, Jesus, dude. Are you like the holy grail best fucking CV in the world? Are you coming here to actually talk about this shit? That's cool. Oh, 11 battles. Okay. So, I mean, like, you kind of had my hopes up because I'm thinking, oh, this is fucking cool. So, Destroyer, I'm sitting at 61.4, Battleship 57, Cruiser 55. As far as damaging, not great. Let's see. Most of these are going to be CVs. If I nick off those, if we look at destroyers, we look at stuff that I have battles in. Z46, 48.8. I think this is what, the tier 9? Yeah, this is when I was grinding up the tier, so, I did what I could. Z52, we've got almost 70%, that's kicking. Z23, 61, I guess that boat worked out for me. Benham, 58, Lightning, 64. Jutland. As far as damage, I really haven't been much focused into damage, although the more that I learn as to how to use a smoke cloud to, just fucking use your guns and kill shit. Cool. Olin, 70% win rate. We did that on stream. Lebrecht Moss, the Moss, 70. Oyster, 62. But I mean, that's when you start getting down into lower numbers of battles. So that's when you start getting like statistical insignificance, I guess. Cruisers are my worst. Cruisers are my fucking shittiest. So, let's look at this. Brindisi, ooh, 46. Mwah, sexy. Venezia, 50. Buffalo, 51. So, cruisers, pretty shit. I'm actually surprised at this. 65 in a Des Moines. I hate the Des Moines. I mean, I fucking hate the Des Moines. I got this thing because people were like, well, if you want to play clan battles, get a Des Moines. Oh, God. I hated the climb to it. I hated the battles in it. I hated all of it. Fuck all of it. This was the first line I ground, and I hated it. Let's see. Alaska, 61. I enjoy the Alaska. It's a good ship. Hipper was interesting. I played that in ranked sprint. Gorizia, for some reason, I actually think that's cool. Maybe because everybody else hates it, and I'm a sucker for lost causes. But the battle number gets low enough that it gets insignificant. So yeah, a whole bunch of basically 50. Not great. Cruisers are like paper thin. You just get fucking wrecked. Cruisers, no fun. And again, not a lot of battles really, in battleships either. 57, 56, 50, 56. Not great. 63 on a Gneisenau. I did not like the Gneisenau. Bayern was okay. I didn't mind the Bayern. I liked the Veribus. I did that one to grind something out. But again, it's only 14 battles, so I mean, does it even fucking matter? But I did a lot of Montana stuff because we did this on stream actually, where I did like, I don't know, 25, 30 of these or something were on stream. Because I was doing the unique upgrade grind. So we got a cool clip. We dunked on a what? We dunked a MVR that was going straight. Ooh, do I want to become famous? Fuck yeah, I want to become famous. Thanks, bro. My PR is shit in everything but CVs. You mean the 25k damage in a single strike from an MVR? What? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You marked the Hakuryu number checked since you already went over that. I'm sorry, I don't know what. If you say CVs are underperforming and underbalanced, why are you so bad in surface ships? Oh, I can explain that. I can actually tell you straight up. Well, I missed a bunch of your questions. I mean, you're literally watching my screen when I'm looking at this. So if you're asking questions, I don't have multiple screens. I have a phone that I use the Twitch app on, so I can be looking at that. But I mean, if you're watching me literally tell you shit, I'm not looking at the phone. But you asked, whatever, underperforming, why are you so bad in surface ships? Well, first off, I don't think I'm that bad in DDs. So at least I got that going for me. I'm okay with this. As far as the average damage, I don't give a fuck. I care about winning. Winning is the thing I care about. But my here is why I actually like the CV class as much as I do. And this is kind of, I think it's interesting. So if we look at, you've got islands and shit, islands and shit, islands and shit, islands and shit, whatever. There's caps. Come on, doing the cap thing, whatever. Cap, cap, cap. Cool. So when I start in a cruiser and I'm here, in my head, I'm there. I'm on the map. I'm not looking at the map. I'm not looking at the little mini map over here trying to figure out what's going on. In my head, I see myself here. I see what my vision sees, what I see, where I go, what I do. And even though there might be stuff happening here and stuff happening here and all this other stuff, it's very hard for me to get out of my head and start existing, like from the clouds, looking down, seeing what's going on, and translate that into the physical location that I'm physically inhabiting. It's basically like I'm really good at reading maps, but I don't think I have the ability to put my head in two places at once, where I'm physically standing here, but I'm also seeing myself from a satellite that's orbiting the Earth. My head, I'm really good at, for instance, if I watch movies or if I read books, I can see that place in my head. I can be there. But again, the top-down thing, I don't know. Whereas when I'm in a CV, very quickly on, planes flying to wherever, you get bored of looking at the planes. There's nothing to see there. They just go straight. So I spend almost the entire match not looking at this. I look at this. Almost the entire match. And it's only every 40 seconds or a minute and a half or something that I'm actually shooting, that my vision comes over here, I do the thing, and then my vision goes right back over there, and I live on this map. Well, so you have poor map awareness. Well, not when I play a CV, because I literally stare at this map. This is what I read. This is the window by which I interact with the game until I come over here and I make an actual strike and I do the thing, and then I come back here and I stare at this again. So that's literally one of the biggest things. That's literally one of the biggest things as to why I enjoy playing a CV. Is not because, I run around, I like dunking bitches, I like having power over people. It's none of that. I don't give a fuck about any of that. If I cared about damage and shit, you'd see my PR, I'd be farming it. If I cared about, being some big dick to whoever and slapping people across the forehead. You'd see me bitching at people in chat like I'm a big fucking dog. I don't care about that. I'm interested in trying to unravel the puzzle, and part of the puzzle are my teammates, and my teammates are the tools that can actually make things happen, and I have to help to try to allow them to make things happen. Yeah, pro players can see 2 to 4 to 6 minutes into the battle where everything is and then positioning from there. It's like chess. That is correct. I am not a good chess player. The thing that, so here's a real life story that I have. So when I was a kid, when I was like 10 or I don't know. So when I was like 10, yeah, probably about that. I don't know. My uncle started, he's like, "Hey, you want to play chess?" Sure. So I played chess. So I don't see 3 moves or whatever moves into the future. My head gets overwhelmed by possibilities. Literally, there's a game that I have. Do I have whatever? Good old Galaxy? I don't know. Owned games. Fuck, where is it? It's not Dragon Age. Oh my god. Is it Pillars? Pillars of Eternity. I have started this game about 15 times. And I get out of the starting area and I quit. Because as soon as I get out of the starting area, I can go in 17 different directions. And my mind just goes, what? And then I close the game. Because my mind immediately gets overwhelmed and just says, fuck this shit. And I close it. So one of the first things I learned as a kid was when I went to school stuff happened. And as soon as I left school, I memory wiped it. Yeah, it's still back there. Yeah, I still remember it. But I absolutely jettisoned all of that shit out of my head, because if I didn't, I was thinking about it the entire fucking day while I was doing other stuff, watching cartoons, playing with toys, doing whatever. And I did not have the space to process all that crap. So I learned immediately to compartmentalize data and to shove it off into the void. Yeah, it's still there. I can still find it, but sure. And when it comes to chess, there's so many variations, and I'm sure to people that learn all this shit, they just know it. They just fucking play it. Cool. But for me, there's so many variances that I just know. I'm not gonna do it. And that's a problem. And that's actually a problem that I expressed to my my clan battle team. It's like, I'm seeing the next move. I'm seeing exactly what this map is telling me and where the fires are and what I can do to deal with the fire. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing 3 minutes from now when this fire has overwhelmed, or when I mean, I can forecast a little, but I don't delve into the mysteries of the 3 minutes in the future. I deal with the shit that's going on right fucking now, and that's what I'm looking at. And I do the best that I can with it. But to go back to the chess story, my uncle started playing me in chess, and he beat me. And we played again, and he beat me. And we played again, and we beat me. And just over and over, he beat me every night. I was there for like 2 months, because in summer vacation, my parents would ship me up to Ohio, where I would stay with family or something, because they wouldn't have to deal with the kid. The last day I was there, I made a move, because I thought, well, I don't know, this seems to be the right move, or the next move. And then my uncle said, no, you can't do that. That's not correct. Oh, and I took it back, and I looked for the other move. And my aunt said, no, you let him do that, because I'd put him in checkmate, and I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. I mean, whatever. So I went home, I got a chess set. I mean, I put up the pieces. I tried playing against myself once or twice. Basically, I just kind of used the magic of meditation or something. Like, I don't know, I thought about it for a while. It drifted in my head. It constructed little buildings in my brain. And then I went back the next summer, and I beat him. And then I beat him. And then I beat him. I can't tell you how I beat him. But every time we played, I beat him. And then I beat him. And then I beat him again. And he got really fucking mad, because he's like, you can't do that. You can't trade that. You're using your pieces wrong. You're looking at the map wrong. You're making the wrong moves. You're doing and he refused to play with me after that. Maybe he was a sore loser, but like, he was seeing what I was doing and it didn't make sense and it pissed him off so much he just like, well, fuck, like I'm over here trying to play tennis and you're playing racquetball. Like, this is not the same shit. Fuck you. And technically, I mean, I play CVs and that's almost the same conversation I have with other people. Like, surface ships is surface ships. When you add a CV, it varies up the whole thing because there's so much manipulation happening that I don't like the change. It's a different world. I mean, I get it, but I actually prefer to play a destroyer in a game with a CV. Even if the CV can spot me and fuck with me, the fact that we have a CV that could theoretically do something and manipulate the map in a beneficial way is enough to make me want a carrier in my game, even if he sucks. So, long story, rawr. Were there other questions that you asked, or was that the only one? Sure, I've done that. Go play a Kleber and get back to me. I mean, have you seen the Oland, bro? Are there other DDs here? I know there are other ones, right? European DDs, right? Whatever. Can we, like, make them all go and then we'll do European? I did Visby. Visby has terrible AA. Visteris has terrible AA. Skane, pretty shit AA too. Plane kills, average planes destroyed, Visby 5.11. I mean, holy fuck. Like, really? Tier 5 Visby? Are you serious? Visteris 3. I mean, I used massive AA as a commander talent because the AA on these things is trash. But sure, I did it. Granted, it's only 9 battles, it's only 11 battles, so I mean, yes, the numbers are totally skewed, but I've done it. It's not that I'm scared of doing it. Yeah, Oland has quasi-AA, you're correct. The tier 8 Oland does actually have some AA. But you also have to understand, if I play a Kleber, I'm not a damage farmer. So one, I'm not going to be playing the Kleber to a victory condition in the sense that I'm running around dumpstering people with long-range shells, because that's not my playstyle. I don't give a shit. I don't know how many of the games had CVs, but I can tell you that the average plane kills in a Visby, which is a tier 5 destroyer, was 5.11 out of 9. So how many is that? 45? No. Is that more? Yeah, 45-ish. 45 plane kills, 46 plane kills in total. Visteris 3, that's 33 plane kills on a tier 6 Visteris. Skane, well, 0.8. So that wasn't very many. That's 4 in total. I mean, I'm happy. Literally, I stream playing destroyers in a game where there's a CV. I'll div with a CV so that I literally have a CV to describe the carrier just spotted me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to cut my thing. I'm going to use AA. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to do this. I literally talk about all this shit on stream in front of people. Yeah, well, that's the Kleber's gimmick. The Kleber has terrible detection so that it can be a ranged asshole. But again, just because a Kleber is a ranged asshole doesn't mean it needs to be on the edge of the map being a ranged asshole. It can have friends. So just dodge is a legit thing. Yeah, there's ways to counterplay CVs. But you just told us you don't farm in it. What? How does the Kleber have friends? There are other ships that flank. A Henry, a Zhao, other Klebers. So go slower. You don't have to go 55 knots the entire game. There's nothing that says you have to be full throttle or no throttle. Fucking man, you gotta gun it, bitch. Well, there's no requirement that you have to be like hauling ass. Have you ever seen Gaishu play? Gaishu ran multiple Klebers, or maybe it was Marceau's? Might have been Marceau's in clan battles. And they would just kind of like be in a group of 4 over in a map, showering, pissing on people's face and killing them. There was actually a match where I came in and I was in an Audacious, and Jesus, if they hadn't nerfed the rockets, oh my god. But no, they had, so we came over and whatever, we did stuff, so sure. Yeah, you ran 7 of them in clan battles too. Were each of your Klebers in completely different corners of the map? No! No battleship and most cruisers can keep up with the Georges, so overextending's easy. Yeah, so you just don't go full speed all the fucking time. I don't care what the Kleber is doing. Whether the Kleber is capable of citadeling a cruiser, it is not important to me in terms of, is the Kleber going really fast in his own little section of the universe because I'm real fast, lol, get fucked. Just because the Kleber is fast doesn't mean he can't operate on a flank with other teammates. So what is your real account, Kekistan dude? Like, I'm sure you have an account that's very impressive, but to sit here and go like, you're fucking trash. I mean, no offense, but I'm not trash. That's an incorrect statement. It is a lie. What PR do you feel you must attain before you are not absolute garbage? Because you're going to have to specify this shit. And also, the other reason why I don't value PR very highly at all, the reason why this doesn't matter to me, is because if you look into the calculation of it, 75% of PR is your average damage. 10% of your PR is your win rate. Only 10% if you actually win the fucking battle. But 75% of it is average damage. The other 15 is your average kills. I realize that El Presidente of Kekistan is trolling in the sense that anyone that's going to say that they're from Kekistan, I mean, Kek is the easiest internet giveaway to say, dude, I'm just fucking around with you, bro. I get that. But again, to sit there and go like, you are fucking garbage in front of 42 other people that are sitting here watching the stream, I'm sorry, it's not real. You can say it as often as you want, you can say it as loudly as you want, but it's not real. If you want to tell me that, like, man, your cruiser play could really improve a lot. Yep, I absolutely agree with you. My 50% cruiser play, to me, sucks. I am not at all happy with a 50% cruiser play, and that's something that I could absolutely look at. God, dude, you're going to have to specify what you think garbage is. PR is more important than win rate. That's a bullshit statement. You can do shitloads of damage in a clan battle and lose. What mattered? The fact that you did a lot of damage or the fact that you just fucking lost? The fact that you fucking lost trumps everything else. Well, I got 6 kills. I'm the best person on my team. Awesome. You lost. But I did a lot of damage and no, you lost. It doesn't fucking matter. Everything else didn't matter because you lost. No, what I'm trying to tell you, El Presidente guy, is that this website looks at this. This is 75% of your worth as a human being is wrapped up into average damage. There are some people that in order to get better PR will kill their teammates or will purposely not cap, or will fuck over their teammates to extend the game so that they can get more average damage to get a higher PR. They will sabotage the game and fuck their teammates over so that they can make their number go bigger. That's bullshit. There's nothing good about that. I even literally had somebody in a game today say, "Hey dude, can you just let us cap so like we can farm damage more?" No, you're an enemy team. Go fuck yourself. I just want to win. We'll be on to the next game. I mean, if there's something that I can do to prevent the enemy from capping every single game, I will always do it. If the games last 3 minutes long and I win, great. I'll win every 3-minute game I come into, and I will be happy about it. If I have 4,000 damage in a 3-minute game and it's a win, awesome. I will actually brag about that stat. Care to show me the 75% number? Oh, sure. Yeah, I think you can actually just look it up on Google. How is of warships PR calculated? It's this, right? So here we have frags 0.1, damage 0.4. No, that's normalization. Where is this? Here we go. This is what it is. You have, technically, I guess this goes a little over 100%, but 70% is damage against normal damage. 30% is frags versus normal frags. That's how the number is based off of. And then there's a 15%, I guess, modifier for wins. So this counts for almost 7 times, well, 5 to 7 times as much as winning. It is more important that you torp and kill your teammate. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's what the fuck they do. This is them, bro. This is their website. This is how they calculate the shit. You want to send them a question, you do that. But it is literally, if you want to farm PR, it is more important that you kill your teammates so that you guarantee that the match goes on as long as possible and that your teammates don't shoot anybody so you can take as much damage off the board. The 15% for winning is like extra credit. Okay, well that's just straight trolling. Like that's not even worth responding to. Bro, 70 is not 75%, sir. You are completely fucking wrong. It's 5% different, sir. I guess you're wrong about everything in life. Nah, man, it's not even worth doing. Nonetheless, the PR formula or whatever, it matters to damage. When I can literally tell you that it makes more sense for me to kill a teammate so that I can farm more damage, or that I can intentionally throw the game so that I can farm more damage, will give me a higher PR number. That to me is a fucking problem. But anyway, this has gone on for 2 hours. Holy shit. I mean, I guess it was entertaining in a sense, but it's only, for 40 folks that are hanging out. Why are people hung up on the fact that the CV hull doesn't have to be spotted to do damage? It isn't the hull that does the planet. Well, the hull is the source of the damage because the hull is the source of the planes. And you'll have people, there's a term, I think it's called like false equivalency or something. So if he can do this, why can't I do this? We look the same. If when this ship shoots, we can shoot that ship, but if this ship shoots, we can't. Well, that's not equal. And the hull for the CV can be over here and strike, but if a battleship fires, even if it's long range, other people can potentially see the battleship. He could fire with an island blocking or smoke blocking or other things, but theoretically, smoke firing or the firing penalty is going to mean that he's going to be spotted at least out to there. So if he's going to shoot that far, people can see him, going back. It's not technically correct because of other mechanics in the game, but still. This, of course, does not hold water, even in like the CV to gun interaction, because if you have a destroyer that can torp at 20 kilometers, you don't see the destroyer. You'll see the torps. They'll show up. Ah, fuck, maybe you get hit. But it doesn't reveal the ship in anything remotely the same as, you shoot a gun and you get spotted. Ships literally used to be able to stealth fire in open water. Yeah, I heard that was a thing. Could you look at my stats now? I need a professional's opinion on if I could make it into a competitive clan as a DD and cruiser player. I can look at your stats, sure. Are you on North America, CPhil? Or not on North America? I don't know your... Oh. Yeah, I need to know the name. Is this a thing? Yes, it is. Cool. 50% win rate is not encouraging. If you look at solo, you're still 50. In division, goes up to 59. So if you're in a division, if you're operating with somebody else, that's a market improvement. Although there's only 112, which is a relatively small sample size. And 43 in a division. So you probably have, like, if it's you and two of your friends or something, maybe you guys just get a little too aggressive or kind of derp around. Destroyer-wise, I guess you're doing okay in the division, but in other terms, you might be a little overconfident in what you're doing. But just looking at random battles, aircraft carrier, this number, 42. There's a saying, the only person that's in every one of your battles, or every one of the things, the situations you're in, is you. So you're going to have situations where teammates just throw the match, potentially to get more PR. But it's going to happen. But still, the only person that's in every game that you're in is you. So the 42% win rate in a CV suggests that maybe there's something that you're not providing the team and that a CV really should be providing the team to even get to a 50%. So that's problematic. The only thing that you have that's comfortably over 50 is going to be battleship play. And in terms of your PR, which again is damage, you have average damage, at least according to whatever the fuck the number means. Cruiser, you've got good damage, but you're not able to turn that damage into wins except slightly more than half the time. So you might want to be looking into, can you have better consumable usage? Can you have better threat of damage? Sometimes it's not about actually dealing the damage, it's about threatening the damage so that you can try to control situations. People just can't move because you're there to threaten them. You're evidently getting good damage in a destroyer, but again, you might be dealing, this much in terms of damage, but if you're not getting the win rate to come with it, then the damage is not translating to wins. And I have a saying that I like to tell people, because there are some people that say, they want to increase their PR, but they don't want to lose while they do it. But in order to increase your PR, you have to farm damage. So I try to tell people you can farm damage or you can farm wins. You can't do both. Some people are exceptionally fucking good. And I mean, just really fucking good. That they can farm damage in the places that will give them wins. So they can actually combine it. But you gotta be real fucking good to do it. So in general, my personal belief, you farm damage or you farm wins. Not both. Until you just get to really crazy something, whatever. But I mean, that's just like a general look at this from what I'm seeing. In terms of tier-wise, you have a better win rate up here, although tier 3 you have a stellar one, but you have the most battles at tier 8, and you're running about a 50. So in terms of a clan, if you'll see in certain ships I'm extremely good, but in general I'm only okay. Sure, that makes sense. Basically every ship has strengths and weaknesses. Every ship is going to have quote unquote a win condition. So we can look at ships here, I guess. Sure. Win rate. Well, let's look at battles. Georgia, you got a 55.6. You have a pretty decent average damage. I don't know exactly what teal means in like the grand scheme of things. I think if you look over here, it gives you a little more information. So in terms of average damage, you're 13.7 thousand above what is average. Server average is 75, you're at 88. So you're above average in damage. You are above average in aircraft destroyed. You are above average in destroyed warships. You are above average in server win rate. So you are above average in a Georgia. Kid, 55. You have to go to Wyoming. That's tier 4. What next? Positive. Like I'm looking for outlier positive. 50-50, ideally you're doing 50-50. Your contributions in the match are helping are neither really helping nor hurting. They're just kind of you're performing your function is 50-50. So this is an outlier. Wyoming. Seattle is technically a bit of an outlier. Shores is technically a bit of an outlier. This one you have more average damage, but it's still you have a win rate. So there's something you're doing in the Shores that's probably taking good positions or threatening somehow. Maybe you're just being really annoying. Yoshino, 60% win rate. Again, you're hitting server averages, so there's something about your Yoshino play that you're able to threaten or deal with the situation, cause people to have to respond to you. That's allowing you to exert yourself on the map. But in general, win rate, as far as a reflection of play, you still have. You might not. If you look at win rate as a representative of how much influence you're having on the battle, you need more influence. And the question is like, what influence do you need to be providing? Do you need to be providing consumable influence with radars and positioning advantage? Do you need to be providing protection, maybe? With protection as in like you're screening for your friends with hydro to make sure your battleships are safe, or you're providing AA cover. Like there's all sorts of stuff. I don't necessarily know what to tell you is gonna like suddenly you're gonna rocket off to the moon, but in general, this states that you have a basic grasp of mechanics. You've got an idea of what's going on. You're floating around 50%. I think average, or like the server average or something, is like 45, or I don't know. I don't necessarily have this, but 50. You're in the average category. So if you want to be above average, you'd probably be looking into learning about mechanics and learning how to be more influential, or learning how to live longer and be able to contribute more. I ground up to rank 5 or something in a DD because there are seasons where there's no carriers, right? And I got to rank 5 and I just couldn't advance. I just couldn't advance because I'm sitting there like I'm trying to use hydro or something to make plays. I'm trying to do other things, right? Well, so I changed up. I went to a battleship. I got all the way to rank 2, but it just didn't fucking take. And eventually I went back to a DD and I told myself, the only thing I'm going to do is not die. I don't care if I hydro something. I don't care if I take whatever. I just don't fucking die. And then I ranked out. That was the most important thing I could do, was not die and just be somewhere on the map exerting pressure. And that was, I got all the way to rank 1 and I was done. So, that was the magic sauce for me. I stopped worrying about like what specific influence bullshit I could do. And I just did whatever I did. Do mine? Is it Shoy07? What is your in-game name? Maybe it's obvious and I just don't know, but what is your in-game name? Like Fight Club. Rule 1, don't talk about it. Rule 1B, don't die. I don't know if I could look at ranked season unless I looked at it in the game. In the game, I think you can see ranked stuff, right? Oh, ranked battles. Oh, it only says 18. I mean, 18's not a really good amount to come off of. And also, I don't know where your ranked battles were. Like, was it in Storm? Was it in Gale? Was it in Typhoon? Winning 2/3 of them, you won 12 out of 18. That's cool. For me, let's see if I can look, because this last season sucked. This last season, I think it was only 55%. Can I look at this, or is it just not going to do it? Yeah, it doesn't have any info. I guess because I didn't play in the current season, then I don't know how you would look at previous ones. Which, too bad. Alright, so maybe Shoy put his whatever down. Pretty obvious. Is it Shoy07? Okay, I just want to make sure it matched the name. I mean, you could have a different name. 55%. So you've got a solid grasp of what you're doing to contribute. So your 55% means that you're showing up more often than not. You're providing more influence than you'd be expected to provide in an average situation, and it's translating to win rate. In terms of win rate across all your different types, it's roughly around 55. So again, it's pretty solid. You have an idea of how to influence, you have an idea about what to do, so you're coming out, you're influencing. In terms of damage, your aircraft damage, I guess, is below, but your win rate is okay, so you're winning despite having damage. I actually, when I played the Midway before various nerfs and shit about a year ago, I mean, I had like a 67, 68% win rate, and my average damage was at like 97 or 105 or something. But there were so many fucking games where I won, and I had like 35,000. Because I was just doing influence plays. I didn't give a shit. So damage-wise, you might not be doing the damage, but you're doing the influence play, which is good. And in the other ones, you're outputting damage in a destroyer and a battleship and a cruiser, which is good because the surface ships do need to push out damage to be able to have... they have influence in their own ways. CV influence is different in terms of the spotting, the suppression, the movement, the manipulation. It is different. Whereas destroyers, it is more of an influence play. You might complete a game with no damage, but battleships and cruisers, you are expected to have some kind of damage influence, and it does seem like you're meeting what you're expected to do, which is good. 60% in tier 7. That's your tier 2. Tier 4. These are where the games are going to be more consumable focused and more complex, is going to be in the higher tiers, and you're still running around that 55%ish stuff. Which means you understand the situations you're putting yourself in, you understand the influence plays and the things you need to do. Yu Yang 57, nice. 56 in a Missouri, not so much in a Z. 55 in a Grosser. 67 in a Helena, that's pretty sexy. 62 in a Massachusetts, and you're starting to get down into like the, it's not that 200 battles isn't a lot of battles, but you start getting a lot of statistical variance. Yes, that is correct. Base XP is based on the percentage of a ship health. So if you deal 15,000 damage to a 20,000 health destroyer, you have 75% of a player's worth of base XP awarded to you. If you deal 75,000 damage to a 100,000 health battleship, you get 75% of a player's health worth in base XP awarded to you. So yeah. Looking for the definition of frags. Frags are designed as it's kill ribbons. It's kills. It's getting the last hit. This season I could have ranked out in 89 battles, but I reached rank 2 and 4 stars, lost 5 times in a row. Did that 3 times before I ranked out. Oh, it was close. What did I do for the recent ranked stuff? No, that's not it. Ranked battle. Old. What? All seasons? Okay. At 18th, we were able to play carriers. 63% win rate, 109. No, I don't want that. 17th, 94 battles. We were able to play carriers. Oh, that was the tier 8 season. That was actually cool. That's where I started streaming, by the way. We streamed some of the last few battles I did. 126, 62% win rate. This is the one where, I got to rank 5 in the Z39, and I just couldn't make it fucking move. I tried a few different things, and it just didn't take. So I went to the Ashitaka, and we got pretty far in the Ashitaka. We got to like rank 2, and then it just started sliding back. Just wasn't working. And the hilarious thing was I had RPF in the Ashitaka because I knew I was going to be on a flank, and I knew there'd be a DD looking to fuck me. So at least I'd know where the torps were coming from, and it actually worked really well. But then I went to the Z39, and I just went, I don't fucking die, and we got out. So that was nice. Haken Audacious, 67, 89. Audacious, there's... Why did I do Z52? It's 7 battles played. I don't know. In Midway, I think just did not work. I don't remember what that one was. Did I rank out for this? I don't remember. It doesn't say what your maximum rank was, did it? No? Buffalo, black thing. I don't think I ranked out on this one. I think I was still fairly new at this point. Ooh, I was. I got the Benham and I had no idea how to fucking use it. I had done the German line by this point, but I didn't know how to play DD, but I'd gotten to tier 10. So I mean, I had that. So I actually dropped steel on a black because I thought, ooh, it has radar. It'll be really good at killing DDs. So that didn't work. Yeah, this was a noob season. I didn't know what the fuck. So I think I just stopped at like rank 10. I was like, nah, I'm done with this shit. Because I was rank 10 because of this. And this I think was my first one. Ooh, it was. Yeah. Where we did 234 battles. This was when I was still new. I'd gotten tier 10. Oh, wow. They're letting you do CVs in rank. That's cool. And the 49%, this was back before the CV's base XP got nerfed at tier 10. After this clan battle season, they reduced CV experience at tier 10 by about 30%. So if you got 2,000 base XP now, it would have been 2,600 base XP back then. And they did it because of the ranked season. Because you'd have CVs that would just constantly save their star. And I mean, it was a 49% win rate, but yeah. Nowadays, if the CV saves its star, it's probably because you done fucked up. A season where Audacious was better than the Midway? I think that was the arms race season. Was it? There was an arms race season where I went to Hikaru because I just couldn't... At the end of the match, when people had like 4 and 5 health buffs, you just couldn't kill a fucking battleship. But I do remember I really enjoyed the Audacious a lot. Like, I still do. I think the Audacious is fun. Looked at your stats and saw you're an old OPG guy. Oh, that's somebody else. Okay. To measure your win rate accurate in randoms, due to a number of variables, you need like 20,000 battles to get a 1% margin of error. Yeah, I don't know what a decent sample size... Actually, that's a question. we could Google search that. What is a decent sample size? A good maximum sample size is usually 10% as long as it does not exceed 1,000. For example, in a population of 5,000, 10% would be... Okay, that's not really the information I was looking for. As a general rule, sample sizes of 200 to 300 responses provide an acceptable margin of error and fall before the point of diminishing returns. I don't know. Statistically valid? Yeah, fuck, it just doesn't tell me. Doesn't give me the easy answer I wanted. 50 observations? Well, as a bare minimum, okay. Do I think Wargaming should introduce recent stats along with overall stats? I mean, more information is always better. There's no reason not to have it. The only problem with that is they have to code all that shit in and have more computer processes accessing databases and shit. So I don't know. But yeah, sure, more information is always better. I agree at that. 1,000 battles is a 3% error. Well, that's cool. Alright, well, that's useful. 100 battles, 10% error. 1,000 battles, 3% error. That's good to know. I have, oh my god. How many battles do I have? I have a lot of battles in the Midway, but that's also where I learned. Midway was my first tier 10. Well, that's not what I want. I'm looking for this. And... fuck. Is there something that gives me more information? No? No, not at all? Okay, well, son of a bitch, so... I think I have to do... because I think this has more more information available anyway. Let's just do all battles. Yeah, Midway I have 1,000. 68%, really? I guess it just held steady then. That's cute. The Kuryu, does it have maximum damage in here? I guess it does it? Does it not? Damage, max damage, 264. That lasted for a long time. Then I beat that in the Midway with what, 315? 317? Sadly, the Audacious game, man, just never done it. 268, but like I was hunting for 250 for a long fucking time while I was in TNG and it just wouldn't show up. But, so this is the one with the most Midway, but this has also gone through multiple iterations. It's been an interesting time. Ark Royal is silly. Like I've had this 80 for I don't even know how long. With this thing, Ark Royal is mean. Ark Royal is a mean bitch. 75, 72, got a bunch of 70s. Z52, yeah, that one sucked. Parzival, I learned this one in ranked, which is actually what Gaishu did with the FDR. He learned that in ranked, which is probably smart because it wouldn't affect his random, like his PR from randoms, I guess. But then again, maybe he was able to do it while, I'm sure Gaishu is a tester. I'm sure he has access to the ships that haven't come out yet. I mean, it's fucking Gaishu. 50 observations has a 20% error. Well, okay. I don't even think I would look at it unless it had about 100 to 200. Outside of that, it's really flexible. Clearly the data is there because stat sites pull it. Yeah, I guess. But they might pull it every day and just store the data. I don't know. You lose a lot of planes striking with the Ark Royal. Well, it's got a pretty good regen rate, so technically it's okay that you're losing the planes because you will get several of them back. And you start with the largest plane reserve in the game. Well, at tier 6 with 14 of each. So you have a very healthy amount of resources. And again, the regen is very high. Okay, well, it's 1:30 in the morning. This has gone for 2.5 hours. Now, knowing I'm number 20 in a tanker ship versus others tells me something valid. How does your CV playstyle compare to other CV mains, such as Cable Guy or Fierja? As non-CV players, I'm not sure the differences work out. Cable Guy, if we look at Cable Guy, we're not all that far off in the PR category, which I think is weird. No, Cable Guy. Cable, right? Cable, it's 2211, it's this thing. I don't know Fuerza, so I don't know what to say on that. Cable 66.4. 69% win rate in CVs. Very high in terms of by PR because he's a striker. He deals shitloads of damage. Is he able to think 2 and 3 steps ahead in the future? Probably. He actually has a YouTube channel where he does post things and guides and videos and stuff. Audacious, he's 10, he's like 13,000 damage, average damage higher than me. Midway about 13,000 damage higher than me. So like PR is mostly based in the damage. I don't know what my frags are. But Cable Guy is a striker. Cable Guy goes around and he finds things. So kind of like, well, like, I don't know. I don't want to draw at this point. I'm pretty tired. So when you walk into a match, you have X amount of resources. You have, I'm just going to bullshit a number for easy math. You have 50 planes. That's what you've got, 50 planes. And I'm willing to use my 50 planes in areas that give me damage or don't give me damage. I don't give a shit. I'm willing to use my 50 planes to put out fires. I'll piss on the fires as best I can. Cable Guy lights fires. That's more Cable Guy's thing. Cable Guy is, if you're not going to contain me, I'm going to use my 50 planes and I'm going to find a place and I'm going to jam 50 planes up your ass and I'm going to hurt things and I'm going to cause fires. Is basically how he plays. So he'll find that one ship that it's a little isolated, which means he's able to get the best damage return for resources used. So whereas I might spend 3 planes and get 10,000 damage, he might spend 3 planes and milk it out to 14,000 damage or something like that. He's got a better rate of return, resources to damage. And the amount of damage that he's able to kick out is strong enough that he's able to influence the game in that way and lead to wins. But does he throw matches or whatever to farm PR? I don't know. But in general, he just focuses really heavily on doing fuckloads of damage. I focus on getting the strikes, so I am pretty insistent on being accurate. But my influence plays are because of influence, not necessarily just running around shooting shit. As far as Fjorja, I know he's in KSD, but I don't know him personally, so I can't answer that. Newish spotting damage was tracked by WoW's numbers. Well, WoW's numbers doesn't care about anything that's not damage, kills, or wins. I mean, yeah, it tracks some other stats, but I mean, as far as the PR number is concerned, it doesn't give a shit about anything else. Would probably show a noticeable difference between you and Cable? No, not necessarily. I don't play to spot things. That's actually a misconception that I talked to the guy on the team that I was with in TNG who runs the team. His name is Storm. He was like, oh, you know, you're great at spotting. You're great at spotting. Okay. I don't play to spot. Now, I've been trained to know that if I'm going to do something that I need to leave a fighter or I need to try to allow for my team to follow up on what I'm going to do. So if I'm going to attack something because it's a priority target, then it's really it's smart to leave a fighter or to try to attack it in such a way that it's going to continue to be lit so that other people can follow up. So that I've been trained to do. And that is something that's in muscle memory. I do that naturally. But in terms of running around getting spotting damage and shit, no. I don't have the time. I have fires to piss on. I'm not sitting around just trying to light shit so that people can do whatever the fuck they want to do. I got places to be. I got things to do. And if I can help out by dropping a fighter somewhere because there's nobody looking at shit, it's more important to me that my team knows the position of the enemy ships so they don't get fucked than it is to have the enemy ships appear on the mini-map so that they can lock on and shove shells at them. If that makes sense. It's more important that they know where the enemies are so they don't die than it is that they know where the enemies are so they can shoot them. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that makes sense, right? It's 1:30 in the morning. Does anything make sense? I think it does. Right? All right. Yeah, and honestly, in CV games, CVs can accrue a lot of spotting damage just because they're busy attacking shit and they happen to spot things. But you can only be in one place on the map, and that one place on the map does not spot the entire enemy team unless they're clustered into a ball. So if you're over here, your other ships are spotting this flank. If you're over here, your other ships are spotting this flank. So it's like you need your team to provide their functions of spotting and being influential and doing stuff. If you can provide a little extra spotting by seeing the asshole that's behind the island that's farming people, sure, that's cool. But in general, the team really needs to be sustaining itself the way that it would sustain itself when there wasn't a CV in the game. Or at least be trying to approach that. Because again, if there's a CV in the game, the DD can't just fuck off into the middle of nowhere because, hey, I can spot everybody. There's factors that you have to factor in. So you don't just derp off into the middle of nowhere, but you might extend, a little bit of distance away from an AA umbrella so that you can see around a corner and get some spotting. And if you start seeing the planes coming over your way, maybe you shirk back, take a little shelter on the umbrella for a little bit. It's, the bend and flex, the give and take, the this and the that. It makes sense. Just frustrating trying to say one thing for it to be interpreted differently and then frustrate you as a result. I'm a self-proclaimed CV main also, and someone I have coached personally. So all or most of this is right up my alley and makes sense. Well, yeehaw. Yeah, I mean, if you have spent a lot of time learning how I play CV, then a lot of what I'm saying probably feels fairly intuitive because you've just watched me play so much and listened to me self-narrate my play that you'd probably be thinking along the same lines. But if you instead went over and watched maybe Gaishu or you watched Rimu, I think he streams on YouTube, Rimu Bakuru or something. There are other people that'll narrate their play, but I mean, they're going to have different value systems. They're going to be they might be doing not what I do, which is responding to the fire that's going on so I can run over there and piss on it. They're responding to the fire that's going to happen in 3 minutes. Like, they might be playing differently. I don't know how to describe that. I know my style. And I can at least say that my style works really well. I'm not a solo 80% win rate player, but there are some days where I approach it. Gaishu is carrying by extreme brute forced damage farming. Sure. Well, Gaishu also, I mean, not only is he a great player, but Gaishu can damage farm, but he knows which things he wants to damage farm because killing them means that he's removing the scariest shit off a flank so that whoever his ships are can overwhelm the flank and win. So not only is he just beating the fuck out of things, but he knows enough to know what to beat the fuck out of. So that can carry him to victory, sure. We're doing something like silly targeting one ship the whole game. Huh. What you taught me mostly was just specific game mechanics and different nifty tricks I could use. I could say I've formed my own playstyle, which is similar to Cable, I think. Damage farming is one thing, but damage farming the right targets is another thing. That is true. Yeah, I mean, I haven't sat down and just kind of hung out and talked with Gaishu, but in the interactions, or at least in the Twitch streams that I've seen and the interactions of how he plays, there's a player in League of Legends known as Faker that he just woke up one day and he's like, I get League of Legends. And yeah, he's just really good at it. There are other people that approach him and maybe a guy that actually surpasses him who's not in competitive play, but sometimes people just fucking get it. They just naturally attune themselves to it and they just fucking get it. So when people ask me like, are you better than Gaishu? I mean, on the one hand, it's a troll question, because if I said yes, they'd be like, he thinks he's better than Gaishu. But realistically, I'm not better than Gaishu, because Gaishu is the whole package. He's got it all. But do I think in a CV that I can hold my own against Gaishu? Do I think that my mechanics can go against him or whatever in a head-v-head, or not a 1v1, but in a random battle? Yeah, I've gone against him in random battles, and we've won. I don't know if I've won in a clan battle against him. I feel I have. But for the most part, I haven't. Usually, when he shows up, he's got, Ooh, nice. MVP has 100% win rate against him. That's cool. Does Gaishu still stream on Twitch? Yeah, when he does, sure. He doesn't stream all the time. He streams whenever he wants to, I guess. But he does stream. The biggest problem, I think, with the clan battle stuff is that Gaishu will show up in a comp that the team that I run with is like, huh, we didn't plan for that. What the fuck do we do now? And then when it's a whole bunch of trying to play catch up or fuck it, it's Gaishu. If we lose, whatever, it's Gaishu. Let's just get this done with. But well, actually, maybe not. Let's get this done with. Let's drag it out. You got recommended to me by a friend of mine. He says you're the guy to learn CVs from. Well, I do teach. I do teach CVs. My normal teaching schedule is from 5 until 7 Eastern. This is not. There's this, Flamu made a video, and one of my viewers got me to not necessarily react to Flamu, but react to the CV player that was in the video. So I posted a thing, it turned into a big thread. There's lots of people that were talking to me, asking me questions and stuff, and rather than like type out a book, I just decided, fuck it, I'll stream, and I've gone through describing a bunch of mechanics and concepts and ideas with Paint. There are going to be lots of people that don't agree with me. There are going to be some people that do. And it's just much easier, for instance, for me to just post the video and be like, here, watch it. Probably none of you will. If I actually look at this, I think there's like analytics, right? Analytics, yeah, okay. Views, watch hours, I mean, that's something. Engagement? No, that's not what I'm looking at. I don't, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm looking for. Fuck. There was something I had, like balancing act, right? This was a 2.5 hour episode with Zorn. And I think it has like, how many people actually watched all the way through to the end? 2%. 2% actually finished it. But a lot of people, you know, they went through, 25% came through. A lot of people are going to click on it. Yeah, they kind of did whatever. Average view duration, 17, 18 minutes. I mean, I didn't design the Balancing Act series to be like a gripping, moment by moment exploration, deep dive into the consciousness. No, it's just, it's few people talking about shit, you know? So people going to listen. I listened in the car. I find that if you listen to me at double speed, I sound like a normal human instead of a slow, slow speaking troll. So double speed definitely for the win. Although other people actually speak at a reasonable pace, so maybe in that case double speed doesn't work, but it works for me because I speak slow. By the way, Indicate says hi. Hi, Indicate. Alright, okay, so it's 1:40. The first 45 minutes of this was responding to this. The next 2 hours was responding to questions and being trolled by... I wonder if he's still here. Is it Kingdom of Kekistan? Is he still here? Oh, did he fuck off? Yeah, he fucked off. So, got trolled by the Kingdom of Kekistan dude for a while. But it was kind of funny. Or kind of fun, I guess. That's a good name to be trolled by. Yes, it was a good troll name. It was quite representative of exactly what he wanted to do. He actually baited me in, which is where we started looking at like the PR stuff. Oh, is he still here? Oh, El Presidente. I looked for K for Kekistan. That's true. El Presidente of Kekistan. But he baited me into looking up the PR for him. He's like, well, I have a 90% win rate in CVs. And fuck, I mean, maybe he did. But he only had like 20 battles. So, in that case, that doesn't mean shit. 20 battles is it's statistical fucking craziness. So, ugh. But anyway, which then led us to a conversation about statistics. We had a long conversation about PR and talked about a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, this has been going almost 3 hours, but it was fun. It was fun to just kind of chill and talk. SCCC trolling is normal. Is he from SCCC? I don't know who he's from. He had 11 battles in one ship and then some in the other, right? Or was it 11 battles total? It might have been 11 battles total. I don't know. Either way, it made me laugh. It's like, up, you got me. I have a 90% win rate, CVs. Oh. So, it was funny. Either way, it's bait, yeah. Kaga torps are frustrating for me to drop. If you look at... So, hey, look, it's the stream. Ooh, streamception. Rawr. If you look down here, you'll see carriers. If you click on this, it's going to take you to basically a Twitch thing. So, like, let's look at Kaga. So, click. It's going to start out. Yeah, see? Double speed, because I ain't got time to listen to me talk slow. So if you click over here, this will give you just like a basic intro as to what you could pick with upgrades and other stuff. But then you'll have standout games or games that, you know, like, wow, that didn't suck. That was kind of cool. And then you have other games as well. So you can watch a variety of stuff, and all of this will probably be commentated, or heavily commentated in some cases. So if you want to actually see some Kaga play and deal with some Kaga play, you can definitely check that out. And actually a pretty cool thing about the Kaga, that the reticle was fucked until today. So they fixed it. They just changed, they got the torp reticle correct again. So, which is really nice. You don't have to just kind of like, well, I think I'm leading enough. So yeah, the torp reticle, and evidently the way it was described in the patch notes are torp reticles have been corrected. So it might have been many other torps as well that were a little slightly off. Maybe they just went ahead, looked at it, made sure everything was up to snuff. Other people have reported that torping has felt easier and more fluid. So who knows? Hopefully they trimmed up the code, spit shined it, and made it better than it was before. New Kaga torp is sublime. Alright folks, it's been cool hanging out. It's nice to have the 50 folks here. I don't know how many of y'all are regular folks. Probably a lot, if I had to guess. How many names do I recognize? BFK is here. What is this? What is this sneaky hidey person in here? BFK hanging out. What bullshit. Hey man. Oh, Polycat's here too. What is this? Shepherd Pie? Shepherd Pie has an amazing voice, man. No joke. What is this? Being all sneaky and shit in the chat. But anyway, it kind of sucks that I don't know how to video edit, because like I said, the first 45 minutes of this is actually is a reaction to this initiative concept thing, whatever, but then there was just a whole bunch of back and forth and whatever. I mean, the talking was fun. The hanging out was fun. I enjoyed the hanging out. It was nice. I talked a lot. My voice is fucked up. The side two torps were extended slightly further than the green extender. Yeah, it was weird. No bueno. It's helping Late Light with his Kaga, and he was having the same issues. Yep, that's the thing. Hope you don't work. Oh no, I do work. I wake up in 5 or 6 hours, which is fine. 5 or 6 hours. I've been fixing fitness equipment for like 8 years. People pay $120 for me to come out to their house to diagnose something. And in almost all cases, I can show up, look at it, listen to it, and then in under a minute know what the issue is and go, it's this, and explain to them what's going on, why it's going on, what the part is, what the rough cost is. Do you want to do this thing? No, I live in Georgia. So it is kind of funny in the sense that it's like, well, you've been here for 4 minutes and you want me to pay $120 for this? Are you fucking kidding me? But the other thing is, treadmills are really heavy, so you don't go to, you don't bring the treadmill to me. You bring me to the treadmill. So my ass gets to be stuck in a car for 20, 30, 40, in some cases 3 hours. So I can drive to a place to come in there and spend 2 minutes going, oh, it's this. So in that sense, it's kind of a dick. But I mean, like, if you go to a specialist, if you go to a dentist, obviously I'm not a dentist, but if you go to like a specialist at something, you're paying for their opinion and they're also paying for me to come to them. So it's, you know, whatever. Paid for what you know, not what you do. Lots of seat time. Is a free video editor? Oh, I can attempt to learn how to video edit. I just, in general, I don't try to do all the things at once. Like when I started streaming, when I played EVE Online, I wouldn't allow myself to play unless I was min-maxing everything, and I hated it. So I could be uploading good games to YouTube, and I could be making cool discussion series, and I could do all this shit, and my response to this is, I'm just gonna stream. As long as I'm streaming, it's okay. I'm just gonna fucking stream. And anything that comes out of that, anything extra, you know, Newbie Gamer Dude was super generous. He set up a Discord for us to hang out and have pretty chill discussion in, which is awesome. So I'm learning it. I'm taking it. I'm not blitzing. I'm just going at the speed of however the hell it's gonna go. But eventually I'll figure out the video editing stuff. In the moment, you know, whatever I stream gets saved to Twitch. I can kick it up to YouTube and there it is. So, woo! Okay. Alright, well, I really am tired and not interesting. So I'm gonna poof. Thank you everybody for hanging out. 'Twas fun. It was a nice social hour and explainy session and stuff. Alright, good night, peeps. I shall see myself out.